Shen Ye wakes in a hospital room, groggy and confused, then notices a door hanging impossibly in midair. Thinking it is some bizarre magic trick, Shen Ye reaches for the handle. That is always how the terrible decisions begin. The door opens into a pitch-black, filthy corridor. Shen Ye crawls through anyway, calling out as his nerves start screaming. Something starts chewing in the darkness, and a glowing-eyed skeletal nightmare crawls into view. Shen Ye bolts back through the doorway and slams it shut, shaken but very happy to still be in one piece. A voice explains that the little statue was cursed to steal its victim's soul, but Shen Ye somehow survived the trap. His memories crash back into place. This body belonged to middle schooler Shen Ye, while the original soul died from overwork on Blue Star and took it over. The reward arrives immediately. Shen Ye earns the polite person title, and his new world link ability makes that cursed door his. The voice warns that the doorway opens into the nightmare realm, where unknown enemies may already be coming for him. Shen Ye decides the title might help him negotiate with whatever is chasing him. Unfortunately, the giant skeleton looks like a very tough customer. Shen Ye wakes in a wrecked room, calmly introduces himself, and activates his polite person routine. His visitor is a glowing-eyed skeleton that wants to eat him. Shen Ye looks nervous, but he still tries making friends. That is ambitious networking for someone facing the ribcage with legs. The skeleton lunges and nearly crushes Shen Ye on the bed, proving this is not a friendly house call. Shen Ye realizes the creature is blocking his door, and the salesman never lets a problem stand between him and tomorrow's opportunity. He bets everything on his old sales skills and starts talking instead of running. He points out the obvious. The skeleton cannot eat him across two worlds, so they can only negotiate. And Shen Yu spots the real weakness. Damaged bones. He pitches calcium tablets like they are premium loot. For once, a supplement ad might actually save his life. The skeletal visitor answers with a burst of purple energy and produces a contract from the other side. The contract identifies the monster as a defeated underworld officer and offers Shen Ye a simple exchange, goods for power. Shen Ye barely hesitates. He signs his name, looking pleased that his first supernatural client came with paperwork. The contract completes, binding Shen Ye to the creature and opening a dangerous new connection between worlds. Back home, Shen Ye is grateful for the parents who care for him after he grew up an orphan. Then police arrive asking about Shen Ye's case, and his strange new life gets complicated immediately. Shen Ye realizes the police are terrified of the curse, even though they insist he is just an ordinary student. That makes him suspicious. Why would anyone unleash something this powerful against him? One officer quietly hands Shen Ye his card and tells him to call if anything feels wrong. At least one cop is not following the script. Shen Ye decides waiting is not an option. If the authorities cannot protect him, he needs to get stronger fast. He opens the door to the nightmare realm and walks in with a bag of calcium tablets. Grocery shopping just got aggressively dangerous. A giant undead creature crawls out of the darkness, but Shen Ye calmly offers the tonic it wants instead. The trade succeeds. In exchange for his tonic, Shen Ye receives a low-tier nightmare crystal from an elven soldier. The crystal can pass on an elf's knowledge and skills, and Shen Ye accepts without hesitation. Green energy floods his body as he learns Moonlit Deerwalk, an elven movement technique for dodging, dashing, and sidestepping. Then reality checks him. He needs more agility before he can actually use it, so even magical upgrades come with stat requirements. Before Shen Ye can celebrate, a creepy undead skull appears and challenges him to prove what he is really made of. In the dark hallway, Shen Ye realizes someone has already sent an assassin after him. The guy is huge, armed, and clearly not here to chat. Shen Ye tries to dodge, but his fancy footwork does absolutely nothing. The assassin is way faster than he expected. With no room left to play nice, our boy consumes his polite person title for a single status point. He literally eats the achievement. Game systems really do charge for everything. The boost unlocks Moonlit Deerwalk, and green energy erupts around him as his agility finally jumps high enough to escape. Shen Ye slips through a hidden passage and tells the assassin goodbye, looking relieved for about half a second. The shortcut is not safe at all. A massive skull-faced creature with glowing green eyes lunges out of the darkness and devours the assassin. Shen Ye survives the nightmare and receives a reward for sacrificing a living creature. He immediately starts searching for something useful. His prize is a pale shadow crown, an item made from a high-level shadow mage that can disguise its wearer as an elf. The crown works instantly. Shen Ye stares at his new elf form in shock, then grins because this disguise might solve a lot of problems. Then someone knocks at the door asking for Shen Ye. His first transformation test arrives immediately. Shen Yu crashes in, terrified and apologetic that his best friend got dragged into this mess. The reunion is messy, but the relief is real. Our boy is alive, and that matters most. His mother reveals the family bought him a super tonic, the kind of medicine that apparently needs its own bank loan. She only wants him healthy enough to face school again. When Shen Yu says he will take the exams, his mother hugs him close and makes one thing clear: his safety comes first. The memories fill in the ugly truth. Shen Yi's struggling parents swallowed their pride to get that tonic from his powerful grandfather. But Shen Ye himself is already dead, leaving someone else to carry the weight of their sacrifice. The next day, he heads back to school with a fresh goal: train his body, pass the exams, and earn a better future. Then Zhao Yibing finds him in the hallway. She has returned to prepare for the exams too, but her confidence has a sharp edge. She tells him to stop looking for her, deletes his contact, and says their worlds are too different to stay connected. When he calls out the gifts and attention she accepted, Zhao Yibing fires back that none of it meant she accepted him. She shuts the door on any reconciliation. Not even friendship is on the table. A big-class bully corners Sun Ming, furious that everyone is defending the quiet new guy instead of feeding his ego. Bully swings first, but Sun Ming slips past him and flips the guy over like this hallway has suddenly become a training arena. That confidence lasted exactly one punch. Green energy coils around Sun Ming as he moves. Even the watching students cannot believe how much faster and sharper he has become. Before the fight can get worse, a teacher breaks it up and reminds everyone that the mock exams are about to start. Sun Ming heads for the field. All's friend is already dreaming about a new comic shop. Priorities are priorities. Then Sun Ming suddenly bolts into a dark school corridor, looking sick and unsettled as if something is wrong with his body. A shadowy creature stalks into the restroom with a purple glowing dagger, searching the stalls for its target. Elsewhere, a blonde elf princess feels the same green energy flare up and realizes someone has finally triggered the signal. She fires a storm of blue magical bolts at the unseen threat, stunned that a human has entered this dangerous mess. The real shock arrives when a skeletal figure recognizes her as Princess Lagertha. Whatever this connection is, it is not a coincidence. In the forest, the late arriving scout finds his 3 green-cloaked allies waiting, and nobody looks happy to see him. They are disguised as elves, but one wrong detail could turn this little reunion into a funeral. Their leader confirms the cover story. The pale shadow crowns make them look elven enough, but they are not actually elves. Tonight, they plan to kill the tribe chief and seize control. Casual evening plans, apparently. The blonde infiltrator takes responsibility, pushing the team toward the village while the others nervously follow his lead. At the gate, they learn the chief must approve entry. The mission suddenly needs permission from the very person they came to murder. One teammate panics when his blade will not even taste blood, but the leader calls it good. Their disguise is holding. An elf guide leads them deeper into a vast moonlit settlement, and the infiltrators finally see what they are walking into. The leader sends the others to wait and approaches alone, trying to look calm while admitting the job feels dangerously easy. Inside, the elven chief welcomes him with icy calm and opens a strange book, as if his meeting was expected. The infiltrator's ability exposes the chief's titles: Spirit of the Myriad Forests, Heir to the Ancient Tree Throne, and Nature's Mighty Lord. That is not a target. That is a walking final boss with paperwork. The chief savors his fear and promises to remember him. Their assassination mission has just become a very personal nightmare. At the elf village feast, a blonde guest arrives through teleportation magic, looking far too important for a casual dinner. A bright-eyed elf woman asks the blonde stranger to dance. He is tense, but he politely takes her hand. He's clearly treating a dance like a survival mission. Smooth moves are not in the spellbook. She introduces herself as Liney, while he apologizes for his terrible dancing and tries to keep the mood light. To repay her kindness, he grabs everyone's attention and promises a magic trick they have never seen before. Green light erupts as he removes his crown and transforms into a black-haired human right in front of the crowd. Then the trick gets grim. He explains that removing the crowns can turn his 3 brothers undead. The room freezes as 3 red-eyed undead figures appear. That escalated faster than the feast menu. Zvani orders the villagers to capture the undead, but the creatures instantly bind the guards in crackling magic. A long-haired elf steps forward with blue flame, revealing he already knows humans have infiltrated the village. He calls the crown powerful dark magic and says every village has faced undead spies before. With the threat contained, the mysterious elf says he owes someone a debt, then leaves behind a chilling warning: he will not be coming back. After barely surviving the dungeon, the blue-haired survivor catches his breath and realizes the monster is still very much alive. The undead skeleton can talk, and it immediately demands to know how a human survived with the pale shadow crown. Nothing says a calm recovery like a glowing skull starting an interrogation. Instead of begging for mercy, the skeleton offers a deal: an ancient legacy nightmare crystal packed with undead talents. The survivor accepts the trade carefully, making it clear this is a one-time pardon, not a friendship bracelet. The crystal opens its vault of ancient powers and lets him choose one legacy talent as his own. He picks Dark Whispers, a power that lets him hear the undead and hunt down anyone who wants him dead. Green energy coils around him as the power takes hold. He can finally understand the whispers of the undead. The skill is not combat power, but the skeleton confirms it can lead him to the strongest high priest of the elven race. That name gives him an escape route. He bolts for the exit before his undead guide can change its mind. Crossing the door earns him the evaluation title, One of Us, plus a strange reward that records what happened nearby. He also receives a green bracelet that can slowly increase spiritual power. Not bad for one terrible dungeon trip. Shen Ye steps up for the agility test, looking calm while the track turns into a purple obstacle nightmare. Our boy glides through it with the experience he brought from another world. For him, dodging water guns is practically a warm-up. He lands a perfect agility score, and the teachers immediately realize this quiet student is far more capable than he looks. Back in class, Shen Ye hits a problem. The subjects match his old world, but the history and language are completely different, leaving him with a pounding headache. Before he can rest, Zhao Yibing storms in, with a gang behind him, and demands a fight. Shen Ye stays cool because his ally trait activates. The attackers count as allies for 10 seconds, which is a wildly generous definition of friendship. He uses Devour to absorb their green traits and 4 attribute points, then pours every last point into strength. With his strength jumping from 1.2 to 5.2, Shen Ye charges straight at Zhao Yibing's attack. Shen Ye looks like an average student on paper, but his strength stat is far more than simple muscle. His body is tougher, faster, and more resilient than anyone expects. Our boy realizes the upgrade is absurdly real. The bullies were expecting an easy target. That plan lasts about 3 seconds. Shen Ye grabs one attacker by the collar, furious that they tried to ruin his future over petty jealousy. He throws the guy aside with terrifying force, and the classroom finally understands this is not a normal fight. The teacher rushes in to find students sprawled across the floor and Shen Ye sitting in the middle of the chaos. Shen Ye points out that they were bullying him, while the injured gang suddenly looks much less confident. Bing stares at the aftermath in disbelief. Several guys together were not even a match for Shen Ye. As one bully is wheeled away, his injuries threaten his high school exam qualification. Shen Ye knows his own future is finally safe. Sun Ming was bruised and humiliated, glaring at Shen Ye like he wants to drag him down too. Bing breaks down when Sun Ming lashes out and she realizes the guy she defended is nowhere near the person she imagined. The teacher orders everyone back to class as police are called. Shen Ye has won the fight, but the fallout is just starting. The teacher sends Shen Ye to the office, leaving our boy to face the consequences of turning the classroom upside down. After Shen's fight, the school is ready to treat him like a problem. The principal looks exhausted, while the long-haired stranger barely seems bothered. The cops arrive too because apparently one school brawl needed the full cinematic package. Then Shen reveals he recorded the whole thing from the start. The officers realize the video can prove he was almost beaten to death. With evidence on Shen's side, the punishment changes. The police say the final call depends on the injured student's assessment, and Shen quietly starts planning ahead. The stranger confirms Shen was attacked, then hands him a card from the human martial arts group. He is not here to scold Shen, he is here to recruit him. For Shen, this is a direct path towards something much bigger. The visitor studies Shen with unnerving confidence. He says Shen is completely unpredictable, and the cybernetic system ranks the strength at least 5. That score is shocking for a middle schooler, At level 5, Shen could operate combat mechs, so the visitor wants a retest immediately. Shen eagerly accepts. The group does special retests for talents the normal school system might overlook, and he sees his chance. Before that, Shen gets a simple psychic power test. He puts 3 points into the ability, reaches for a chair, and makes it float. The stunned adults finally understand it. This kid is not just tough. He has a talent built for greatness. Shen is stunned when the wild, long-haired stranger suddenly treats this ordinary day like the start of something huge. The stranger asks Shen what he wants from life. Our boy answers honestly. He wants to reach the top and protect himself and his family. A simple dream, except this man clearly came prepared to turn career counseling into a boss fight. Xian Li Shan tells Shen to attack, then stops him cold with a technique that locks his body in place. He reveals that this is only one hidden dragon technique. Their organization can block nearly any kind of attack, even sniper fire. Shen watches the gunfire with wide eyes, finally realizing this offer is far beyond normal school life. Tian admits Shen invented an impressive defensive move by himself, then formally invites him into the Hidden Dragon Project. The project scouts hidden talent and can send successful recruits to one of the world's 3 top schools with full support behind them. Shen remembers his struggling family and the bitter truth that ordinary people rarely get a fair shot at changing their future. That is exactly why the offer hits him so hard. Shen accepts. Shen is pleased, saying he saw something special in him and wants his signature before the other groups come calling. Then Gyun vanishes in a blink, leaving Shen shaken by just how powerful the strange recruiter really is. Before Shen can process it, Wu Feiquan calls with troubling news. He has uncovered information about Shen's situation and wants him at the police station. Shen is brought into the police station for questioning, but he already looks uneasy. Something about this place is setting off every alarm in his head. Sergeant Luo shows him a photo from the day of the accident. Shen recognizes the face, but not the story behind it. The officer explains that the man was trying to activate something at the hospital, and that is not exactly a comforting detail. When Luo asks what Shen carried that day, our boy freezes. He connects the victim to the cursed ghost statue he activated. Luo keeps pressing, checking whether Shen lost control or knows more than he admits. Shen plays it cool, but the sweat is doing all the talking. Then Shen remembers his backpack. His papers are still inside, so he pumps every stab point into agility and prepares a ridiculous escape route. The phone rings at the worst possible moment. Shen forces a smile and asks Luo to finish the call first, buying himself one tiny window. That window slams shut when a red spiraling attack crashes into the station. Someone has come for Sergeant Luo, and this interview just became a battlefield. Red alarms flood the halls as the station announces an intruder. Shen stares upward, realizing the threat has already breached the building. Above the chaos, a blood-red moonlight glow hangs over armed figures. Shen can only wonder how something this dangerous got inside the city. A stylish man in dark shades calmly watches the bloodshed, while the people around him realize someone has wiped out their whole crew. Shen Ye suddenly finds himself back at the station, only to hear that Sergeant Luo and another officer vanished in the ocean. Then a familiar voice calls from a cabinet. Shen Ye freezes because it sounds exactly like Sergeant Luo. Inside, Shen Ye finds Luo's battered body moving again. The sergeant's soul has returned, but only by using this decaying shell. Luo confirms the man in shades killed him. That is one awful way to file a police report. Luo explains that another world can crash into reality and swallow an entire area. These disasters are called anomalies. This one is a minor anomaly with a time limit, but Luo says they cannot waste another second talking. Shen Ye has to move now. Luo gives him a code and sends him to the 3rd floor control panel, where reporting it correctly could earn protection. Before Shen Ye can learn more, Luo sold the parts. Shen Ye understands why the other cops were too scared to touch this case. He knows he is nowhere near strong enough to face the killer yet, but our boy makes one promise: Sergeant Luo will be avenged. A knock interrupts him. Someone says the anomaly has forced everyone downstairs, and Shen Ye is suddenly on the clock. The police walk down the cybernetic center after an attack, and Captain Wang orders everyone to search for Shen Ye. He tells them their missing colleague Luo was taken by a spell, which somehow makes this place even less comforting. Captain Wang finds Luo's body has been moved, so he immediately suspects Shen Ye is behind the whole mess. The captain puts every unit on alert, convinced Shen Ye is still inside the building. Our boy watches the officers leave, but he refuses to hide in the nightmare realm and let the killers walk away clean. Instead, Shen Ye races for the third floor. He needs answers, and he needs them before this lockdown gets tighter. At the code panel, he hears someone approaching. His tense stare says it all. He has walked straight into trouble. Captain Wang catches him and demands to know why a student needs the emergency activation code. Shen Ye stalls with a flimsy school excuse, but the captain is clearly not buying it. Then Shen Ye reveals his innate ability. A glowing red door appears between them, and it adapts to whatever hits it. The captain swings hard, but the strange door blocks the attack. Shen Ye uses the opening to vanish from sight. The captain still charges after him, and Shen Ye answers with the door again. This time, the escape route bites back. With the officer down and the code in hand, Shen Ye finally grins. For now, he has turned a lockdown into a clean getaway. Kunlun confirms Captain Wang Simu is an imposter, and Shen Ye is suddenly caught inside a murder scene. The district locks down and gives him 30 seconds before execution. Shen Ye bolts, because that is one deadline nobody wants. The assassin attacks, but our boy moves first and turns the hallway into a very brief career-ending performance. A masked attacker realizes too late that Shen Ye is faster than he can react, and the threat is crushed in one savage strike. Afterward, Shen Yu explains that the dead officer had been investigating both him and the Silent Church. That means the assassination was not random. Someone wanted Luo Feichuan's trail buried. The hooded investigator confirms the killer came from the League of Assassins, where contracts hide whoever paid the bill. Luo Feichuan's steel body starts working again after his death, proving someone deliberately sabotaged his weapon. The investigator brings Shen Ye into the group and gives him one rule: trust nobody's intentions too easily. Their next lead is an anomaly tied to a church incident. The creature inside was only a skin suit, which is somehow worse. Then a new name surfaces: Xiaomenju, someone with a connection to Sergeant Luo and possibly the missing truth. Shen Yi tells his parents he will not return to that cold grandfather. He wants to earn his place through the human martial arts group instead. His parents look worried but proud, promising to support him if he can make this path work. The contract is signed, and Shen Ye officially joins the human martial arts group. The clan inheritance suddenly looks a lot less tempting. Meanwhile, a classmate celebrates the smear campaign. Convinced Shen Ye has been crushed for good, she is celebrating very early. Then her post gets flagged for spreading misinformation. The school and the martial arts group have proof she lied. When news breaks that Shen Ye secured the contract an elite school offers, her smug little victory collapses instantly. Alone in the hallway, she can only stare at the news and wonder how he got so far beyond her reach. At the group headquarters, Shen Ye learns his battle contribution earned merit points and a government reward. Apparently defeating that creature comes with perks. Monster hunting finally has a rewards program. The group gives Shen Ye a private room and a monthly allowance. From hunted student to luxury headquarters resident, that is a serious upgrade. A famous admirer sends encouragement and VIP concert tickets, while Shen Ye takes in a room packed with everything he likes. But Shen Ye is not relaxing for long. At midnight, he plans to enter the nightmare realm and needs a better score before the entrance exam. Shen Ye opens the door and finds the room wrecked, with a battered undead creature barely clinging to life. The little skeleton begs for help, and Shen Ye realizes this is not exactly a problem he can solve with a bandage. Its skull has 3 glowing eyes and a full-time talent for dramatic entrances. He returns with a giant tank full of restorative tonic, hoping a proper soak can put Skelly back together. Before they can relax, enemies start forcing their way through the door. Skelly reveals a secret passage, but it is too weak to fight. Shen Ye activates a spatial ring and sends the doorway away, buying them a narrow escape. Skelly asks for his full cooperation. Shen Ye needs a way to hide his human aura before walking into undead territory. The scavenger digs through undead gear and finds exactly what Shen Ye needs: a mask to make him pass as one of the dead. With patched-up armor and a deathly disguise, Shen Ye suddenly looks like a bona fide undead warrior. Then Skelly adds the real reward: a skeleton warhorse token. If Shen Ye plays this right, he can earn himself a terrifying new mount. Shen Ye climbs aboard, already planning to bluff his way through as a ghost rider. Honestly, this guy is doing a lot of heavy lifting. As he rides out, Skelly warns him not to die. Their escape plan is now officially a one-man undead audition. Inside the wrecked ruins, a hooded figure rises from the rubble looking exactly like the undead everyone expects to kill. The scout throws up his hands and flashes a human skull mask, desperately insisting he is on their side. That is not the smoothest introduction, but at least nobody stabs first. When the knights demand proof, the masked scout uses an earth hand sign and turns it into a fake confession of love. Roman buys the act, gives him a solo combat pack, and sends him back toward the undead. Baron Warren is far less amused. He wants the Nightshade wielder's identity and orders his men to drag every secret out of him. Before the soldiers can close in, the scout calmly draws a glowing door in midair and steps through it. Their weapons crash into empty ground. The target has vanished, leaving Warren staring at the spot in disbelief. Warren realizes this is no ordinary runaway. His prey is trained for assassination and can disappear before a fight even starts. The strange door leads straight into a room, dropping the escapee safely inside while the hunters are left behind. Now safe, he grumbles at his cursed mask for setting off the signal. Even magical disguises come with customer support problems. Shen Ye studies the two disasters he survived and realizes the same trick saved him both times. Stay flexible, read the chaos, and use the terrain. Then a purple-haired visitor appears, calm as moonlight and carrying enough sword aura to make the rooftop feel very small. She is Luo Fichuan's younger sister, Xiao Meng, and she has come looking for answers about her dead brother. Her expression barely holds together as she admits she already killed every assassin she could find. Xiao Meng explains that Luo Feichuan was supposed to live safely until someone betrayed him and hid his body in a locker. Shen Ye can see the grief behind her composed face, but she still wants the person who hired the killers. She says revenge is not enough. She needs the mastermind, and her sword energy erupts around Shen Ye like a private thunderstorm. Before he can blink, Shameng slices the air beside him with terrifying precision. Shen Ye is shaken because he never even saw her draw. Shen Ye finally remembers the terrified screams from the hospital attack. There may have been witnesses after all. After Xiaomeng leaves, Shen Ye turns back to the entrance exams. He needs to grow stronger before whoever wants him dead makes another move. His next lesson is all about crystals that grant abilities. For once, the homework might actually stop assassins from ruining his sleep. Our blue-haired survivor digs through his supplies and lights up when he finds a nightmare crystal. Finally, something useful. He asks it for a good ability, because apparently the survival plan is gambling with glowing rocks. The crystal hands him undead gear and a shield, letting him pass as a soldier from the Rhine borderlands. It is a disguise, not a miracle, but it gives him a way to explore the nightmare realm without getting mobbed. He steps into a moonlit battlefield littered with corpses, where soldiers are still dragging away the wounded. Then he spots an undead giant. Our boy is thrilled because a giant corpse means a giant pile of answers. He questions the nearby undead about a mysterious mask, but every answer is the same. Nobody has seen it. A werewolf appears, and he immediately recruits the sharp-nosed witness to sniff out the mask's history. The werewolf recognizes it. The mask once belonged to a centurion who charged through here with only one arm left. That matches the severed arm's strange signature gesture, and the survivor realizes he has found the biggest clue yet. When the dead arm suddenly points away, he follows it without hesitation. In this place, even a corpse can give directions. Roman digs through a fallen enemy's gear and finds a mysterious insignia hidden in the boots. The insignia reacts to his weapon, and his plain nightshade dagger starts glowing like it finally found its purpose. It evolves into Nightfall, an exceptional assassin's dagger with the Shadowhand's blessing. Not bad for pocket loot. The upgrade also gives Roman a Shadowhand mission: investigate urgent undead activity for a reward. He immediately starts interrogating corpses, because apparently that is the efficient route now. One undead proves surprisingly cooperative when Roman offers it a gem instead of smashing its skull. The undead reveals their artillery uses human components, boosting cannon power by 20% and firing rate by 10. It points Roman toward the camp, then warns him that the Shadowhand drop-off lies deeper inside. Roman learns the undead want wounded human soldiers alive because human healing magic works far better than their own treatment. Their solution is grotesque but effective: sacrifice an altar, imprison living targets, and drain their life force to restore undead bodies. Roman spots a huge corpse and suddenly has a plan. He is not buying answers anymore. He is making an entrance. He shifts the giant body's strength, grabs a massive slab, and launches himself toward the human battlefield. The landing goes rough. Roman is pinned under the debris and calls for help before the undead can close in. Human soldiers hear him and rush over. unaware that the battered stranger just brought them a very dangerous lead. Green magic crackles through the tent as a white-haired healer pulls our boy back from the edge. He wakes in a human camp, confused and battered, while Prince Norton confirms he is finally safe. Then the prince asks about the fierce hound shield, and the answer is pure disaster. The message says Ryan has been annihilated by the undead, leaving Jo as its only known survivor. Jo breaks down over everyone he lost, but Norton quietly reminds him that surviving that giant was already a miracle. Rest is not happening. Jo's grief hardens into rage, and he swears he will make the undead pay for every life they took. He spots one possible edge: devour the title one of us and pour every stat point into agility. When revenge needs a build guide, maxing speed is a pretty solid start. Jo launches across camp so fast he leaves everyone staring at a blur in the dirt. Norton is impressed, but he notices Jo's strange bracelet and asks where it came from. Jo admits an elf named Lanny gave it to him, and the nearby elf suddenly realizes he has been using elven craftsmanship. A magical screen opens, revealing Eudoria, Lanny's mother and an archmage of the royal court. Now the bracelet has become a very big question. Norton reunites with Lanny, but she quickly reminds him that the high priest is still hunting for him. Prince Norton hears that the surviving boy has connections to the imperial capital, so he orders proper care and a report. Our boy can barely answer. His head is pounding, and the missing memories are clearly not a small problem. The prince sends Norton away to recover, calling him a boy who lived through disasters. That reputation is about to become very real. A system reward appears and grants Norton the self-made title, The Boy Who Lived. Not exactly subtle branding. Instead of hiding, Norton decides this strange title is worth keeping. Prince Norton is impressed enough to back him publicly. After resting, Norton heads straight into the Shadowhand tent. He has found the man who can supply the battlefield intel. The bald informant proudly unloads his collection of shady tools, and Norton looks ready to buy the whole suspicious catalog. Norton tests the camouflage dagger, tames a horse, and spots more useful gear. The merchant has apparently been saving loot for a rainy apocalypse. He picks healing and a frostwind crystal, desperate to keep both. Then an eerie voice tells the human to choose frostwind. Norton freezes as the unseen voice speaks again. Whatever frostwind really is, it has noticed him first. Shen Ye meets the mysterious guide again, and the man offers him a short sword skill called Frostwind. The guide says Frostwind can combine with Shen Ye's Moonlit Deerwalk to reveal something stronger. Our boy immediately takes the bait. When a creepy voice promises secret skills, apparently the correct response is, yes please. Blue energy coils around Shen Ye as Frostwind settles into his arsenal, turning a basic lesson into a very flashy upgrade. He reallocates his points, boosting spirit power and agility until he meets the requirements for Shadow Phantom. In the Moonlit Woods, Shen Ye releases Shadow Phantom. Purple after images burst forward, and the skill is far more intimidating than its name suggests. Shen Ye is thrilled to add Moonlit Deerwalk, Frostwind, Shadow Phantom, and Thunder Palm to his growing toolkit. A passing soldier rewards his brave performance with a Medal of Valor and a recommendation letter for the Imperial Military Academy. Back in the real world, Shen Ye learns the medal has been converted into 65,444 yuan. That dungeon trip finally pays rent. His phone fills with congratulations after he signs with a martial arts group, including a sweet message from Zhao Yibing asking to see a movie. Shen Ye cannot safely celebrate with the group while assassins are after him, but memories from this body's former owner pull him toward Chen Houyu. Feeling that old friendship still alive inside him, he agrees to visit the martial arts club instead. Our blue-haired recruit arrives at a massive headquarters, and the people waiting inside look far more dangerous than any school club. A huge bald veteran catches him staring and asks if he is one of this year's newcomers. Our boy quickly apologizes. The room has the kind of aura that makes eye contact feel like a career-ending mistake. Instead of getting angry, the veteran admits he once stared at these professionals too, dreaming of becoming strong enough to join them. Then Wenna steps in with a gun and shuts down the veteran's teasing instantly. She is clearly not accepting nonsense on duty. A black-haired friend finds the recruit and is amazed by the bright headquarters. He wants to know what joining the martial arts group is really like. The two head toward the group cafeteria, but the visitor is more curious about where his friend has been staying than about lunch. A phone suddenly buzzes. The message says the nurse from the hospital attack has vanished, leaving only a mangled body behind. The sender has been checking everyone around him and identifies a suspicious man searching the school the previous morning. The black-haired friend recognizes the name and realizes that man may have been looking for him. His companion immediately sees something is wrong. On the 105th floor, Shen Ye heads toward the last room with a grin, while the quiet blue-haired fighter trails behind. The moment Shen Ye turns away, purple energy lashes out. Our boy barely has time to realize this is not a friendly spar. He stares at the attack in disbelief, because someone has copied a technique that should be impossible to reach yet. The blue-haired fighter stacks his shadow, frost, and movement skills into one brutal frost moon rush. Subtlety has officially left the building. Shen Ye expects the blow to launch him backward, but the knockback effect suddenly fails. That tiny glitch changes the whole fight. The blue-haired attacker remembers a mysterious voice and realizes that combining basic techniques has created something far more dangerous. Gunshots tear across the test floor, and the building alarm calls every professional to respond. So much for keeping this quiet. Wanna arrives through the smoke, furious that a skin shift technique fooled her, and finds the situation already spiraling out of control. She pins down a suspect and demands to know who sent him after Shen Ye, but the man refuses to give her anything. Before they can get answers, the suspect bites a poison capsule hidden in the mirage. Their lead dies right in front of them. Shen Ye is left shaken by how close the assassination came, while Wenna can only hope the killer's body still holds a clue. At the morgue, Hen realizes the killer can disguise himself so perfectly that even surveillance cannot identify him. So our boy stays behind with the corpse. That is never the start of a normal conversation. Han calls forth murmurs of the dark, and the dead assassin jolts awake with green fire in his eyes. The corpse immediately refuses to talk. Bold strategy for someone already dead. The spirits throw him into a nightmare realm, chaining his soul down as hellish flames tear through him. Each second becomes centuries of torment, and the punishment only gets worse if he keeps resisting. The wraiths are built to preserve a stubborn soul, so there's no easy escape. He finally cracks and begs to tell Han everything. One brutal interrogation, 0 lawyer jokes. Elsewhere, Shen Ye receives a strange invitation to an elite high school program and wonders if she should go. Zhao Yubing suddenly demands Shen Ye's phone, furious that someone is working behind the girl's back. When Shen Ye resists, Zhao Yubing draws her sword and makes the threat painfully clear. Back at the morgue, the assassin admits the League of Assassins hired him to make Han's death look like an accident. Their fake calamity failed, and now the whole operation is spilling apart. He reveals that a corrupt cop was meant to retrieve an artifact after the hit, but Han's survival ruined the cleanup. Han leans in with the only question that matters now. Who hired you? Shaman Ju corners a green-eyed captive for answers, and the man panics that only the operations boss knows the full story. The target is a nurse at the Maplewood Hotel, and the captive admits a notorious killer called the Skinner is coming for her. That is a truly awful job title to see on a resume. Then the interrogation gets uglier. Xiao Menju learns the Skinner's special hobby is cannibalism. The captive adds that the Skinner prefers young women, but his confession ends when Xiao Menju decides it's hard enough. With the nurse in danger, Xiao Menju leaves the man screaming and heads straight for the Skinner. At Maplewood, Mr. Han enjoys an absurdly refined private dinner with the nurse, savoring every bite like he is judging a cooking show. A message tells Mr. Han to handle a target personally. 3 assassins are already down, so this girl is clearly no ordinary victim. When he sees her photo, Mr. Han is instantly captivated. The danger has somehow become a dinner invitation in his head. He eagerly sets an 8 o'clock rendezvous, while the nurse sits there unaware that her date has become a very strange mission. Mr. Han turns cold and ends the arrangement. Behind that polished smile, the hunter is finally ready to move. A blue ghost fire motorcycle drops in front of Lua, and our boy stares at it like Christmas came with an engine. The bike is a ridiculous upgrade, AI-controlled, color-changing, and able to switch into flight mode for 30 minutes. Apparently even a quick escape needs premium features. Colin clearly thinks Lua is in danger, so they hand him the fastest possible way to disappear when trouble closes in. Lua understands the ugly logic behind it. In this world, people only offer protection when they see value worth protecting. Elsewhere, a long purple-haired woman senses murderous intent around her grand estate, and it is hidden frighteningly well. She corners a nervous schoolgirl and reminds her that Shen Ye's help was never free. Every favor came with a price. The girl gets 2 choices: testify to everything she knows or pretend that meeting never happened. Neither option feels safe. Before the pressure can crush her, A white-haired man arrives, calls her Bing Bing, and offers help with a smile and a rose. He promises Shen Ye will not retaliate, then offers recommendations, a major school, and even support for her studies. That is one serious rescue package. An icy sword intent tears through the hall from outside. The white-haired man shields Bing Bing and calmly realizes the attack is aimed at him. The attacker is pushing the process forward. When he refuses to let this perfectly timed rescue get ruined, Bing Bing lights up when Mr. Han offers her a place in the elite school entrance exam, while he calmly promises to help strengthen her. Her happy moment turns unsettling fast. Mr. Han pulls Bing Bing close, and the red threads around them make his affection look dangerously possessive. Bing Bing realizes her sword intent only restrained him for a moment. The man is already slipping into something far more unhinged. Xiao Menyu arrives with a blade and a cool stare, immediately putting herself between Bing Bing and the rampaging attacker. He begs them not to hurt Bing Bing, but Xiao Menyu is not buying the act. She threatens to cut him down if he moves again. Xiao recognizes the Liu family's triple sword technique and demands the truth. Who hired him? Red threads have already closed around him. Xiao Menju unleashes a crackling sword aura and challenges him to see whether his body can withstand her sword intent. Instead of breaking, the attacker reveals a monstrous red form. He calls Bing Bing a perfect prize and threatens to devour them both. Subtlety has officially left the building. The creature's hunger overwhelms him, but Xiao Menju stays composed. She knows threatening an assassin only makes the blade come out faster. With blue energy coiling around her sword, Xiao Menju offers him a deal, turning the monster's tantrum into a very risky negotiation. Inside the shattered hall, Xiao Menju stands firm with her sword raised, even as the assassin's red aura closes around her. He promises to spare the Lias if she cooperates, but her cold stare makes it clear she does not trust a word of it. The white-haired killer treats the hostage situation like a romance scene, which is somehow even creepier than the murder threats. He claims her resistance only makes things more interesting, while Xiao Menju refuses to bend. Then the assassin grabs Xiao Menju and vanishes with her, leaving the real danger far from over. On a rooftop, Shen Ye realizes the truth is getting ugly. Her brother is dead, Chen Hoyu is dead, and the eyewitness may be next. He cannot leave Xiao Menju to face this alone. A frightened little girl calls Shen Ye. Her mother saw something supernatural, and now she has gone missing near the Maplewood Hotel. Shen Ye's bike companion warns that this could be a trap, but he is already moving. A missing mother is not something he can ignore. He decides the fastest route is straight down the building. Normal people take stairs, but our boy has apparently retired from normal. He reallocates his stats into agility and steps off the roof. The warning comes too late. Shen Ye drops through the storm with nothing but wind, rain, and a ridiculous amount of confidence beneath him. As the cold wind howls, Shen Ye plummets toward the city. The night rain is coming, and so is the next disaster. Ghost fire plummets down the side of a towering building, and even his little skull companion is screaming for dear life. But our boy has a ridiculous answer to gravity. He summons a door at the right distance and uses his nightmare realm to interrupt the fall. It is basically parkour, if parkour came with dimensional doors. He sticks the landing perfectly, leaving the companion stunned that this reckless move actually worked. With the clock ticking, Ghostfire calls out his bike, and the red machine tears into the night. At the west side of the city, a worried little girl asks whether he has seen her mother. Her face says she is trying very hard not to panic. Ghostfire promises to search for her mom, then tells her to take his bike to the Human Martial Arts Group Tower, where she will be safer. His route confirms the real urgency. He is only minutes before the trail goes cold. The Skull Companion questions why he cares, but Ghostfire insists the missing mother is innocent and trapped in this mess because of him. Once the girl is gone, he finally notices the nightmare fuel around him. The entire block is empty, without a single living presence. The sound points toward the Maplewood Hotel, so Ghostfire heads straight inside and tells his companion to warn him if anything changes. Shen Ye hears a brutal fight near the Maplewood Hotel and heads straight inside, because apparently Danger has his address saved. At the desk, a polite-looking attendant greets him, but the warning is immediate. She is already dead. The dead staff were ordered to keep him busy while their master fought a powerful enemy upstairs. When Shen Ye asks how many people died, the answer lands like a brick. Everyone in the entire block is gone. He follows the trail and finds hallways packed with bodies, all tangled in eerie red threads. One dying ghost recognizes Shen Ye and begs him to avenge them, blaming herself for dying after crossing paths with him. Before he can process the massacre, an explosion tears through the hotel from above. The real fight has reached his floor. Then Xiahou Menyu crashes down through the rubble, and Shen Yu catches her in midair. She admits she had been suppressing her injuries and playing weak, but her whole plan has fallen apart. Xiao Menju makes a desperate call, shifting everything into strength. She hopes one full force strike can finally put her opponent down. Her target vanishes into the smoke, only for a red-eyed man to step out of the ruins. He says he has eyes everywhere in this hotel and starts a countdown. Shen Ye and Xiahou Menju are now playing by his rules. On the battlefield, the purple-haired scavenger finds a bizarre bunny battlesuit. Apparently, even armor has a sense of humor. But she's badly hurt, and the blue-haired knight realizes this loot run is turned into a rescue. At Capta heals one that her wounds need rare divine runes. The knight immediately reaches for the royal coin pouch meant for his tuition. When they hesitate over the price, he snaps that they should take it all and heal her now. The healers pour the expensive magic into her, and green light floods the camp as her condition finally turns around. His sacrifice comes with an absurd reward. The system brands him the boy who lived, and suddenly everyone knows his business. The treatment works, so he carries the exhausted woman himself while the camp celebrates their new hero. His companions instantly start teasing him about his sweetheart. The gossip machine never misses a shift. Later, the purple-haired woman wakes in a ruined hall and finds the knight waiting nearby. She draws her sword and demands to know what he did to her. Then she realizes every wound is gone. She apologizes for knocking him out earlier, then warns that the man they are after will arrive soon. She asks if he can still fight. A 3-hour Holy Guardian title ignites around her. Fully healed and furious, she makes one thing very clear. She is going to kill him. Xiao Menju finds Shen Yu waiting inside the ruined hall, and the bread curse around him makes this reunion feel very unfriendly. With Shen Ye busy healing, a girl steps in alone and swings hard. She has decided subtlety can take the day off. A blazing attack rips through the building, scattering stone everywhere. Shen Ye survives it, but only just. Menju realizes Shen Ye did not simply tank the blast. He dodged, cleared their route with force, then patched himself up like nothing happened. The wounded man only gets more excited by the pain, calling Menju's attacks a passionate embrace. That is not a normal battle response. Outside, the sacred medics admit they stack strength, agility, resonance, perception, and spirit blessings onto one person. They really use the whole menu. Their Holy Guardian effect doubles every blessing for 3 hours, turning that generous support into a serious power boost. Menju tears through the red threads with her sword, and Shen Ye can feel her attacks getting faster and stronger by the second. Then she spots the real source of the boost, and the curse, a hidden mass of screaming faces beating the room. Shen Ye reveals he prepared a present for her, and the walls fill with grinning faces as the trap closes in. The cursed choir begins its wedding hymn, and Shen Ye unveils the nightmare behind it all, Blood Fiend's eternal curse. Inside the corpse-filled building, our blue-haired runner realizes the bodies are chanting an incantation. That is never a good sign. He finds the spot he was searching for and bolts toward a nearby room, desperate to get ahead of the ritual. At the control desk, he announces that it is time to test their powers. The confidence is loud, but the room is still full of cursed corpses. Elsewhere, Menju commands a forest of blood-red threads to wrap around the purple-haired swordswoman like a twisted wedding gown. She catches the trap instantly. Her sword is tangled in the threads, so she reaches for another blade hidden inside her hair. With a sharp pull, she draws the hidden sword and slices through the red bindings before they can lock her down. Menju heals through the damage with Blood Fiend curses and calmly claims he is invincible. He is enjoying this far too much. She refuses to buy it. Spinning both weapons, she unleashes twin blades, one long and one short, charged with blue and gold energy. The swordswoman drives the attack forward and tells him to go to hell. Her face is ice cold, but the strike is pure thunder. Menyu answers by offering the blood of thousands of dead souls to a twin-headed serpent demon. A many-eyed monster begins to form, and she has no time to dodge. Then the blue-haired guy suddenly grabs a microphone and greets the audience. Apparently the cursed death maze also has live commentary. A giant red-eyed monster crashes into the hall, and Shen Ye knows he cannot waste time dodging. Before the creature can finish its attack, the purple-haired fighter cuts in with a blazing blue and gold strike. She looks locked in, but the white-haired man barely has time to register the interruption. The slash tears through him, yet he stays upright. Apparently this curse comes with an outrageously stubborn warranty. She realizes the monster's armor absorbed the damage, while the corpses around them start chanting again. Shen Ye grabs the microphone and makes a wildest possible counterattack. He tells everyone to sing Happy Birthday. The cursed man freezes as the song cuts into his blood magic. The nightmare choir has been hijacked by party music. The spell breaks enough to enrage him, and he vows to kill Shen Ye for ruining his curse. He charges through the rubble and finds Shen Ye, red eyes burning with pure murder. The purple-haired fighter steps in front of Shen Ye and orders him to run. She will hold the monster off. The villain ignores her and threatens Shen Ye's family, turning the escape into a desperate race. Shen Ye knows he cannot beat the Skinner head-on. Frustrated but focused, our boy stops pretending this is a fair fight and starts looking for an escape. The floating skull offers a deal. It can help Shen Ye recover his power if he helps bring down the Skinner. Nothing suspicious about a talking skull proposing soul magic, right? Shen Ye accepts the binding contract. If he dies, the skull gets his soul, so this is less a partnership and more a very expensive emergency loan. He reallocates every stat point into agility. Shen Ye is still wounded, but now he has the speed needed to survive the next move. Following the skull's instructions, Shen Ye begins the ritual and repeats an ominous chant to call the skeletal spirit into an altar. The soul fire ignites around him. Shen Ye realizes the ritual is working, but he must keep moving before the Skinner notices what he is building. Too late, the Skinner is already on him, red-eyed and furious, determined to kill Shen Ye before the soul ritual can finish. A purple-haired fighter crashes into the chase with a blue energy strike, forcing the Skinner to dodge instead of instantly crushing Shen Ye. The Skinner uses the momentum of every attack to close the distance faster. Shen Ye keeps running, but the ritual is not complete and the trap is tightening. Inside the ruined hall, Shen Ye is chased down by a red-eyed attacker who is clearly done playing fair. The enemy starts invoking the Dark Mother of Bones and the Ghoul King, turning the room into a supernatural nightmare. Apparently one murderous man was not enough trouble for today. A purple-haired ally steps in beside Shen Ye, furious that this monster thinks he can threaten her partner. The summon dead hunger for lost souls and revenge, while Shen Ye realizes they only have one shot left. Shen Ye calls the spirits of the dead to his side, and his ally answers that they should work together. Their attacker charges anyway, blinded by rage and desperate to kill Shen Ye first. The hall fills with screaming green spirits, each one repeating the same demand, revenge. Even surrounded, the red-eyed killer laughs and dares Shen Ye to finish him. Then Shen Ye answers with something far worse. A colossal skeletal calamity crashes down from above. The enemy is buried in the impact, but Shen Ye is not celebrating. He promised to kill him, and he means it. Shen Ye stares him down and reminds him that this punishment is happening right in front of everyone he murdered. Only now does the wounded killer understand what Shen Ye has summoned. In the rain so tall, a towering skeleton raises its sword, and the blue-haired fighter realizes this thing is far more than a pile of bones. He attacks anyway, but the skeleton barely reacts. Its contempt is almost impressive, if being murdered by a lamppost had a personality. The monster reveals its real weapon, countless trapped souls, shackled for ages and ready to be set free. It casts Resurrection of the Dead, flooding the hall with glowing spirits and turning the battlefield into a full-scale haunting. The white-haired man tries to control the dead, but they reject him completely. His magic has been stripped away, and panic hits fast. The skeleton explains that its spell tears body and soul out of sync. The victims are alive, terrified, and suddenly very easy prey. As the spirits close in, the trapped man begs the great gods for help and offers everything he has. Desperation always finds the fine print. That plea creates an opening. Shen Ye sees the soul-locking spell, grabs the skeletal enemy's blade, and moves to avenge Chen Hoyu himself. Xiao Mengyu fires off an immobilizing spell, desperate to stop the Skinner before this fight gets even uglier. The Skinner gets wrapped in blazing golden restraints, but its snarling face says this monster is not ready to stay down. Apparently even skeletons can be terrible at accepting a loss. A dark strike suddenly tears through Xiao Menyu's defense, and the Skinner taunts him for falling for the same trick again. Xiao Menyu calls for a flame attack, and a huge blast crashes down on the Skinner in one brutal hit. The Skinner survives by unleashing Bone Embrace, a ribcage shield that blocks an ambush from some unseen attacker. So there is another player in this ruin, and they are aiming at the monster too. As shadows try to drag the Skinner away, a purple-haired girl makes her own escape through the shattered opening. Xiao Menju realizes the mysterious attacker was helping the Skinner, so it cannot be the same person who destroyed the building to save him. That means the whole rescue had a hidden purpose. A ghost-like watcher reports that the mission failed and the target is gone, while checking whether the girl reached the martial arts group safely. Then Xiao Menyu receives a message claiming someone uncovered the truth behind Skinner's death and wants him to take a look. His stunned reaction says this fight just opened a much bigger mystery. Song Jinyun freezes when a message reveals someone uncovered the truth behind the Shen family tragedy. The message drags him back to childhood memories of Shen Ye, a kind girl who always wished he were more like her protector. Then Shen Ye enters the picture, and the mood flips from nostalgic to seriously suspicious. Behind the scenes, cold-blooded men decide Song Qingyun must die and plan to make it look like an accident. Apparently murder is just another item on their office calendar. Qingyun had considered every theory, from enemies targeting the Shens to someone hunting the soul inside his body. But the real answer is worse. The dead victims gather around him, thanking him for killing the monster who destroyed them. Qingyun lowers his head, ashamed that he could not save them sooner, and forced Big Skelly to shield him. The spirits refuse to condemn him. They only hope their next lives will have dignity. Their green-eyed leader tells him to let go, but Qingyun promises that someday he will uncover everything and kill the mastermind. The victims thank him again and tell him to live well now that the demon is gone. One by one, the ghosts fade with gratitude, leaving Qingyun alone with their trust and a debt he refuses to forget. At last, the spell binding them breaks. The dead return to the underworld, and Qingyun is left staring at the road ahead. In the rain-soaked aftermath, Shen Ye learns the strange power may be tied to calamities and human experimentation. The purple-haired survivor has seen enough to know this is far bigger than one massacre. She activates Holy Guardian, and the power inside her gives her a few painful answers before she leaves. She admits the people behind this are scions of noble families, but even she cannot see how deep the rot goes. Shen Ye asks what justice looks like after so many deaths. Her answer is cold: they will be punished. The truth cost her everything. Her brother and friends were killed because they got too close to what these families were doing. For the powerful, innocent lives were apparently just disposable lesson material. Classy. She warns that if she challenges every major family, even her own household could be destroyed. That finally snaps Shen Ye. He cannot accept people treating human lives like toys. A blinding pillar of blue energy crashes down through the city, blowing the shattered building apart. Then the skeletal stranger appears, amused that Shen Ye made the poor girl run off crying. The stranger claims humans pursue happiness too, but Shen Ye does not buy that excuse for cruelty. So our boy makes his choice. He will hunt down everyone responsible, and maybe make this life worth living after all. The skeleton approves and invites him to play. That is never a comforting sentence. High above the city, a pink-haired girl watches Shen Ye from the rain, quietly noticing that he has grown up. On a rain-soaked rooftop, Yinchen watches the fallout with a cool stare while her companion worries their secret might leak. Yinchen is not worried about the sword girl talking. She is more concerned with dinner, because apparently cosmic cleanup warts up an appetite. Still, she orders every trace of the fight erased before anyone can notice. Then Yinchen gets to work. A huge glowing-eyed presence forms above the city, sealing the scene behind a blazing red barrier. With the mess contained, Yinchen heads off for noodles, trusting her sister to handle the party without her. Elsewhere, a broken man jolts awake in a bathtub full of blood. He is alive again, and he has no idea who pulled him back. The red shadow reminds him that their bargain has already been paid for. His loyal servant is back, but the price clearly was not small. When he questions the being, the answer comes with enough pain to end the conversation immediately. The entity dismisses his world as weak and says it only descended now because something unbelievable is hiding in the shadows. Then the shadow takes a human shape. The man recognizes Zhao Yibing at once and realizes the great being was standing far closer than he ever imagined. In a blood-red otherworld, a pale woman calmly welcomes Shen Ye back, treating his resurrection like a job well done. She wants to uncover this world's secrets, and Shen Ye is clearly part of the plan. The woman stands before a towering, shadowy beast, wondering how Shen Ye broke a wicked ghost king's curse. Shen Ye wakes in agony. She admits she spent ages gathering power to revive him, and now she wants every drop back. Her pet is starving, so she orders Shen Ye to hunt. Her price is brutal, 1,000 humans for souls, with the scraps left to him. Nothing says welcome back like an impossible grocery list. Then the nightmare cuts away as a blazing streak tears through the rainy night sky. Back home, Shen Ye sits shaken on the floor, remembering how he had risked everything to save a couple of girls. His first uncle calls and immediately brings up all the family grudges. Shen Ye remembers these noble families only showed up when there was something to gain. The uncle demands an apology to the people Shen Ye offended. Shen Ye sees the trap. The families want him blamed for the dead and discarded as their scapegoat. When his uncle presses him about his mother's medicine, Shen Ye pushes back. This is not about compensation. It is about an order he cannot follow. Before the argument can settle, another unknown number calls him. This time is a video chat. Shen Ye's night is getting crowded fast. While everyone else is chasing a fun night out, Shen Ye politely turns down the invitation and tells them to stay safe. Then a system prompt offers him one chance at a hidden ability. Shen Ye locks in, hungry for the power to crush whatever blocks his path. With only minutes left, our boy steps through the blood-red door and enters a foggy forest that looks allergic to good news. A massive skeleton drops from a blue rift, and Shen Ye realizes this is not a normal hidden ability test. The skeletal giant says he must return to the undead clan for unfinished business, so the two allies split up again. Before leaving, Fern gives Shen Ye a storage ring as a token of thanks. Not bad for a goodbye present from a walking bone pile. The forest suddenly erupts with purple energy. Shen Ye barely has time to react before the attack tears through the trees. He recognizes Fern's power in the blast, but the enemy has already spotted him. Retreating now would cost him his shot at the title. Shen Ye chooses to push forward, only for bone spikes to burst from the ground and trap him in a brutal ambush. A purple skull mage emerges from the shadows, pleased with the haul. Shen Ye can only call for Fern as the trap closes in. Prince Norton is trapped under a bone cage while the undead chief demands to know what happened to Fern. Our boy Comey says he was top first. Bold strategy when the furniture has ribs. The chief spots Norton's glowing metal, and it identifies him as the last survivor of the Rhine territory. The insignia reveals an even bigger surprise. Norton is a candidate for heir to the Holy Amethyst Empire. The undead chief refuses to buy it. Norton and Fern may have titles, but so do several terrifying figures already inside human society. Norton produces a royal recommendation letter for the Imperial Military Academy, complete with his own name and seal. When the chief grabs him by the throat, Norton laughs at the accusation. Fern was clearly killed after the mission, and now someone wants the witness erased. He points to the public evidence. Fern's High Elven village was attacked, and the royal prince named Norton as the sole survivor. Norton dares the chief to investigate. The monster starts wavering while Norton calls out the betrayal of his own kind. The chief finally asks what these so-called capitalists did to earn such hatred. Norton's answer is brutally simple. They made him work a 996 schedule. The undead chief is horrified by the human work routine, then softens completely and gives Norton a grateful hug. Fern remembers the monster who found him freezing in the snow and gave the starving boy a strangely gentle hug. Back then, our boy had 1 box of matches and no chance of surviving alone. That is a rough start, even by fantasy standards. The undead decide Fern is their savior because he ruined a human plot to frame them and quietly help their side. Their leader rewards the skull soldier with a medal, then gives Fern a new title, the Little Match Boy, to hide that he survived. In the present, Field complains that vanishing into a flash is what undead normally do, while Fern worries about his expensive fishbowl. Then the third mandatory warning hits. Fern has been spotted again, and armored humans crash into the forest demanding he freeze. Rather than panic, Fern introduces Field as his informant and says the undead have been feeding him intelligence under a contract. The blonde elf senses no corruption in Fern's soul. She sees pure conviction instead, which makes his undead friendship even harder to explain. Field suddenly blurts out 996, proving that one infamous past experience is still living rent-free in his skull. The skull-faced undead says he suffered through 996, and the prince immediately realizes this is not a normal complaint. He calls himself a working stiff undead, forced to create value while the undead capitalists squeeze him dry. Even skeletons can also escape off his politics. The old man explains that undead do not need food or sleep, making them perfect targets for endless exploitation. Their nightmare schedule is 9 to 9 for 6 days, while 007 means midnight to midnight, 7 days a week. Our boy gets it now, and he gives the lonely skull a sincere hug. The undead is so touched he practically sparkles. The skeleton remembers escaping into a blizzard and finding a freezing young boy with nothing but a box of matches. That boy lit a tiny fire to warm him, giving the undead his first kindness and warmth in a very long time. That tiny act changes everything. The grateful skeleton decides to rebel against the whole rotten system. His rebellion earns for a skullbone medal from the undead army, and only its recipient can activate its power. The prince tells the battle-scarred boy that he will grant him a name, honoring him as the boy who lived. The boy begs for anything except another name starting with H, so the prince offers Lowly with a completely straight face. He rejects Lowly, and the prince lands on Pepper instead. Our boy has officially become Saint Pepper. Inside a blazing nightly ceremony, Pepper is warned that breaking this oath will shatter his soul instantly. If he holds the line and protects humanity, he can rise into a saint. Our boy does not hesitate. He swears he will never betray humanity, even as the ritual erupts around him. The golden light settles and the ceremony declares him a true saint. That is a serious promotion. Then comes the reward nobody saw coming. His official new title is Saint Pepper. The blonde commander tells Pepper to stay sharp, report anything suspicious, and keep the reward talk for later. Pepper snaps into a salute and promises to serve humanity until death. He is taking the new job very seriously. The elf woman lets him in on a secret. Pepper is a legendary name tied to people who mastered every kind of weapon. Apparently humanity has Old Pepper, Little Pepper, Big Pepper, and Fat Pepper. History had branding problems. She reassures him that the royal family honors Saint Pepper, so he should carry the name with pride. Before he can enjoy the praise, Pepper cuts off the chatter and opens the strange door again. His skull-like companion suddenly stretches toward the doorway as if something on the other side is pulling it in. Pepper stares after it, baffled and alarmed, as the little creature is dragged into the darkness. After surviving both undead and human sieges, Shen Ye earns another rare title and his gate suddenly unlocks a hidden ability. The new skill is basic: time, stagnation, cross the gate, and he can freeze time for 3 seconds on his side. The downside is a 1-week cooldown, because apparently reality comes with customer service limits. Shen Ye tests the power as a monster lunges at him, then watches it hang helplessly while the frozen moment ends. Back home, he devours the new title for 10 stat points, then crashes into bed completely spent. Morning comes fast. Mr. Qian drags our boy toward an airship bound for the Big 3 entrance exams. A message from Zhao Yibing catches Shen Ye off guard. She qualified too, but rumors say her talent was hidden for a reason. Mr. Qian explains that the Archaeology Association protects ancient ruins and relics, which makes its interest in Zhao deeply suspicious. Then Qian reveals Xiahou Mengyu comes from a sword training family. She learned 9 forms alone and broke through with pure talent. Shen Ye realizes ordinary students are entering this exam against people raised with secret techniques and family backing. As the airship closes in, Shen Ye smiles through the pressure. The exam is coming, and the competition is already absurd. Shen Ye checks his phone and immediately looks exhausted. Someone is texting him like silence is a personal insult. The girl he is messaging is already in Zhongbei, standing alone in the park with a strangely knowing smile. When she says she is heading to Nanshan Temple, Shen Ye knows it is no coincidence. The place is miles away, yet she seems to move impossibly fast. Our boy gives up arguing and crashes on the couch. A tactical retreat, if you are being generous. The mention of Nanshan Temple pulls Shen Ye into a dark memory, back when he was just a child. On the ruined temple, a black-haired girl stands over a wounded child and vows to take back what belongs to her. Before the nightmare, young Shen Ye was simply playing with fireworks beside 2 little girls in the snow. Then a horned wolf-like monster appears behind them. Shen Ye throws himself between the creature and the girls without thinking twice. He wakes in the hospital after the attack, and the 2 girls bring handmade cards to thank the boy who saved them. Soon they have to leave, waving goodbye through the falling snow. Shen Ye is left with a memory that clearly never let him go. Back in the present, the black-haired girl wakes Shen Ye and offers food. 10 years have passed, but he is still wondering what those girls look like now. Shen Ye is riding in serious style now, staring at a luxury airship meal spread that could bankrupt a small kingdom. Our boy attacks the feast with total commitment, then immediately hits the wall. Even heroes have limits. The other passengers explain the ship carries candidates from 11 provinces, plus a few rookies who barely know anyone. A stern older man, High, arrives with his group and sharply questions how they recruited 7 people so quickly. The adults want privacy, so Shen Ye gets volunteered to show Guo Yunye around the airship instead. Guo Yunye invites Shen Ye bowling, but he has another reason for tagging along. He is holding a very strange card. The card is not a trick. It belongs to the Tarot Tower, an official support system built around the rookie deck. To earn one, Shen Ye must either recruit 6 willing candidates or host an activity for 12. The deck can provide exclusive exam information, track rankings, and potentially put its holders on the radar of major organizations. Shen Ye instantly sees the upside. Better ratings mean exam bonuses, bigger opportunities, and maybe a real shot at standing out. Then Shen Ye spots a ceiling vent and gets bored enough to call it a challenge. Naturally, someone is ready to touch it first. Yang Xiaoyi starts a jumping game with a cocky challenger, and he calmly offers everyone 1 try each. The rule is brutal but fair. Fingertips do not count. You need a full palm slap, so the excuses start flying immediately. Soon the whole room is trying to beat the height, turning one small challenge into a full-on crowd event. With the group hooked, our boy clears his first mission. 12 students willingly join an activity he is hosting. Then Zhang reveals the real event, a relationship workshop built around red flags, because apparently this is where his talents lead. The boys look confused, but they are listening. He warns them not to pester girls, overshare private photos, or mistake attention for affection. The advice hits close enough that the loudest guys suddenly look very uncomfortable. Zhang keeps it practical. Respect boundaries, stop rushing intimacy, and learn whether someone actually likes you before chasing them. The workshop somehow works. The boys decide to back each other up, and their new little brotherhood clears the challenge. From above, 2 older observers let the rookies celebrate. Once they reach their destinations, things will not stay this relaxed. They focus on Zhang, impressed that he completed the mission without being told how. He may be rough around the edges, but he has tricks up his sleeve. On the airship, Shen Ye heads into the martial arts group exam alone, trying to figure out what this strange card system actually means. His card portrait is hilariously villain-coded, but it confirms our boy is now part of the rookie deck. The numbers are brutal. Thousands entered, but only a tiny handful can earn official status and a place at the great academies. Then Shen Ye checks Xiahou Menju's card and freezes. She's already a 5-star official member and the top swordmaster among the examinees. The ranking list gets even worse. Nangong Surui sits at 6 stars, the undisputed number 1 of the year. Shen Ye realizes the top ranks belong to noble family monsters. If he wants to catch them, he needs to raise his star rating fast. So he tests his incomplete heaven-shattering frost moon technique. The power erupts around him, and this is definitely not beginner homework. He drives forward through a barrage of icy movement, focused and fired up as the technique finally starts responding. A new move, Moonlit Deerwalk, comes alive in green light. Shen Ye is thrilled, even if the legacy technique is still incomplete. The gamble pays off. Shen Ye rises to 1 star, becomes an official deck member, and gains the right to decline 1 challenge every hour. Shen Ye's provisional card finally gets him into the rookie group, and his friends celebrate like he just won the lottery. Their ship arrives at Cloudspire Port, a floating island packed with ancient ruins and airships. Casual school commute, apparently. His long-haired guide explains that the Jalan Academy sends students into these ruins to uncover lost history. The place is prestigious, but the ruins are full of unknown dangers, so nobody gets to relax. After the banquet, every rookie will be teleported to the exam site, with better ratings earning better rewards. The exam changes every year. One class faced a 5-minute written test, while another survived in the wilderness for 3 months. Shen Ye's rookie deck integrates and immediately offers a dragon quest. His face says he was expecting homework, not a death wish. His guide warns that these quests are backed by powerful families, and ordinary examinees cannot just farm easy ratings. Then Shen Ye spots a sparring match that can quickly raise his star rating, and he decides this challenge is actually doable. Down below, Zhang Xiaoyi is brutally knocked down before he can even show what he can do. The guy makes it clear that fairness is a luxury here. Only the strong earn respect. Shen Ye draws another card called the Drowning, marking him as someone in constant mortal danger. Before he can process that warning, a challenge arrives from Xiahou Menju, and this one cannot be refused. Our boy meets the purple-haired swordswoman again, and she happily pulls him aside for a private chat. After 1 night apart, He feels completely different, his aura has settled, and his body finally feels ready for a breakthrough. She leads into a soundproof training hall, saying it is perfect for sparring. That invitation gets interrupted fast. A stranger crashes through the wall and sends rubble everywhere, turning their calm walk into a very loud introduction. The attackers are raiding hunters. They see his rare skills and unrevealed weapon as a chance to farm easy points. One of them decides a 4-star rookie ranked 17th must be easy prey. The confidence is doing most of the fighting here. Before our boy can react, the swordswoman releases a crackling purple aura and makes her position very clear. He is hers. The challenger charges anyway. She draws her blade and meets him head-on, looking more annoyed than threatened. Her swordsmanship has sharpened after the breakthrough. Purple cuts shred his clothes, but somehow leave his skin completely untouched. The battered hunter is exposed as Xiaomen Yu, ranked number 5. He retreats in a hurry while everyone processes that humiliation. She admits she was kidding about the threat, then reveals the real reason she brought him here. A combat challenge. In a private training hall, Xiaomen Yu shows Shen Ye a combat card that keeps him safe while his fight is still active. It sounds foolproof, until you remember that powerful people treat rules like light reading. Xiaomen Yu gives our boy the simple solution. Beat anyone challenging him and take his ranking back. Then the mood turns ugly. Zhao Yibing was supposedly dead, but she sent Shen Ye a message before she vanished. The same shadow that seized the Skinner may have taken Zhao Yibing's body too. The image of that inhuman shadow leaves Shen Ye shaken. Whatever they are facing, it is clearly not a normal killer. Before he can process that nightmare, Shen Ye reveals several noble families have arrived to pressure him into marriage. Apparently being weak makes him politically available. What a generous system. Xiaomen Yu admits she accepted the engagement talks only to buy time. Joining one of the big 3 schools could finally get her family off her back. Shen Ye has no clue about those elite schools, so Xiaomen Yu drops the family drama and offers him real guidance instead. She launches into the air with purple sword energy swirling around her, proving that normal people cannot just learn techniques like this. Xiaomen Yu unveils her Luo family's purple threading sword technique, then asks Shen Ye if he wants her to teach him. Inside the quiet training hall, Xiaomen Yu reveals her family's ripple threading sword technique, and Shen Ye is instantly hooked. He wants to learn, but admits he does not even own a sword. That is a rough start for a sword lesson. Xiaomen Yu worries teaching him could bring trouble, but Shen Ye remembers how she saved him from a veteran and refuses to treat her kindness like a debt. Instead, she offers the complete Thunder Palm, one of 7 noble family techniques, plus several other advanced moves she knows. Thunder Palm is famous for being brutally difficult to master, so Xiaomen Yu tells him to watch closely and focus on aptitude. Blue lightning whips around Xiaomen Yu's hands as she demonstrates the palm strike with perfect control. Shen Ye copies the stance immediately, but his first burst of lightning hits the wrong target points instead of the vital joints. The technique is not weak. Our boy just aimed the instruction manual at the ceiling. Rather than mock him, Xiaomen Yu is stunned by how fast he followed her explanation and hands him the Thunder Palm Essentials manual. The moment Shen Ye reads it, the pieces click. His childhood aptitude finally has a real use, and Thunder Palm takes shape in his hands. The system confirms an exceptional speed of learning, raises his rank, and unlocks profile perks like hairstyles, outfits, and a slogan. Then Shen Ye checks the new card and gets a bizarre bald, fur-collared makeover. Xiaomen Yu can only laugh as he demands to know what happened. Shen Ye agrees to keep digging into the Skinner case, then heads off to train before his meeting. Alone in his room, Shen Ye starts testing every strange skill that mysterious voice gave him. Sensible plan, probably. The floating skull mocks shadow mirages beginner trash, but Shen Ye sees the useful part. He can make a clone. Even basic tricks become dangerous when someone actually knows how to use them. The skull is stunned by Shen Ye's complete collection of techniques, while Shen Ye realizes he may have inherited something rare. Then the training takes a brutal turn. Shen Ye suddenly coughs blood as a dark force tears through him. He cannot breathe, cannot stay conscious, and the feeling of death closes in fast. Falling through a freezing void, Shen Ye discovers a new way to breathe before the darkness can consume his mind. Each breath begins sinking his whole body, from his heartbeat to his nerves, until everything moves as one. Just as he understands his shallow breathing, an inner voice reveals where this impossible vision has brought him, the arcane realm. Shen Ye drifts through a strange void and realizes his shallow breathing had only been keeping his body alive. Then a voice rises inside him. telling our boy exactly where he has landed. It is the arcane realm, a place he has never seen, yet somehow recognizes in his bones. His eyes flare violet as he receives the divine moonlight gaze, an arcane realm ocular art. Near-death experiences apparently come with premium rewards now. Purple energy floods through Shen Ye. His wounds close, his base stats rise, and his lunar legacy arts get a massive boost. His incomplete heaven-shattering frost moon evolves into its complete form, and he stares at the power like it might explode in his hands. Every old technique upgrades at once, from Frostbite and Moonflow to Thunderclap and Celestial Shadow. Shen Ye can barely process it. In one brutal brush with death, he has gained an ocular art and a full set of upgraded abilities. Bloody but steady, he admits that the divine moonlight gaze has made him far stronger than before. The new eye reveals titles hovering around him, including The Boy Who Lived and The Little Match Boy. The system clearly has no chill with title cards. Then Shen Ye notices a thin red thread wrapped around his neck, and his confidence disappears fast. The thread belongs to an otherworldly deity. Anyone within 500 miles who can sense his location can be teleported straight to him. Inside a casino, a furious assassin manager learns the organization has exposed Shen Ye's identity. He wants the leak buried fast. The lead director, Gongwu, appears by hologram. He coldly confirms the traitor was punished, but Shen Ye is already moving toward Cloudspire Port. At the League headquarters, Gongwu surveys a grisly mess with unsettling calm. Somebody has turned assassins into raw material. For an assassin league, their workplace safety record is having a rough night. Then a black-haired woman rises from the blood-red spell, and the white-haired servant immediately bows to his master. The master orders Gongwu's head sent to Cloudspire Port, promising this murder den will become their new hunting ground. The servant gladly joins the hunt, explaining that more souls are needed to restore the power spent manifesting here. Elsewhere, Shen Ye feels the trap snap apart. The spell has been dispelled, which means its master now knows he noticed it. His card changes again, warning that he knows his fate but still has to escape death. The hunt has officially become personal. Shen Ye sees his rating jump after catching the prey, and he is stunned that the system can still judge him. The martial arts group marks our boy as 5-star, a massive leap from his old 2-star rank. His awakened arcane eyes earn the promotion, but Shen Ye immediately decides to hide it. Smart move, considering the target on his back. He trusts numbers less than real combat and focuses on getting stronger before powerful enemies come looking. After vanishing for a whole day, Shen Ye gets chewed out by Mr. Qin, who is ready to send a rescue team. Mr. Qin lays out the prize for the exam. Admission to one of 3 ancient great high schools. Dialan trains combat in floating ruins, Nadir digs into lost history, and Terran studies humanity's terrifying underground past. Terran sits above a colossal tomb where monsters and priceless remains make their richest school feel more like a dungeon raid. Mr. Kim explains resonance. Ancient weapons and techniques only answer people the arcane realm acknowledges. Shen Ye realizes his midnight gaze let him glimpse that realm before. Now it has officially recognized him. The manuals include techniques with names so dramatic they sound illegal to say in public. One manual suddenly shines on its own because its fist technique has found someone with the right affinity. The Northeast Divine Fist selects Shen Ye as its owner. The other manuals are excellent too, but this one just picked its fighter. Our boy grins like he hit the loot jackpot, and honestly, he absolutely did. Shen Ye picks the Northeast Divine Fist from the techniques on offer, and his instructor admits it is the strongest one here. The catch is brutal. A 2-star fighter normally cannot jump straight to a 5-star technique. His instructor demonstrates the fist himself, telling Shen Ye to master it if he wants to handle combat alone. Naturally, the lesson immediately becomes a full-speed beating. Very educational. Even with an aptitude value of 14, Shen Ye copies the move fast enough to surprise the instructor. Later that night, Shen Ye gets a message that someone found information on the sinner and wants him at the gym. On the dark street, an elderly beggar calls him over and asks for help. Shen Ye approaches, cautious but polite. The old man offers up his last coins, then launches a vicious surprise attack at Shen Ye's blind spot. Shen Ye's eyes flare purple as he activates Divine Moonlight Gaze, revealing the invisible swords surrounding the stranger. The old man is stunned that Shen Ye can see it. Shen Ye realizes this harmless-looking beggar is carrying a magical treasure. The disguise finally cracks. The strange elder is revealed as the Lord of the Empyrean Flame, and Shen Ye's breakthrough earns him a new title. Xiao Menju has just broken into the arcane realm, and the Luo Patriarch immediately treats that achievement like a personal insult. The old man grabs our boy's face and moves to crush him. Grandpa came here with absolutely no chill. Xiao Menyu blocks the strike, fires back with thunderclap, and forces the Patriarch to actually pay attention. Then he slips through the man's shadow and lands frostbite icing over the Patriarch's arm before he can react. The Patriarch is baffled by Xiao Menju's erratic strength, agility, and bizarre mix of techniques. Our boy calls it a triple power heaven-shattering frost move. Modesty did not make the guest list. The old man realizes Xiao Menju can freeze time long enough to escape, and that his eyes are being watched by someone powerful. Instead of finishing the fight, the Patriarch calmly walks away, leaving Xiao Menju wondering who that monster even was. Back with his people, the Patriarch hears the Zhao families pressuring the Luos to hand over a young man. He snaps at their cowardice, warning that surrendering talent to save themselves would only destroy the Luo family's future. Still, he cannot stop thinking about Xiao Menju. At 15, the boy has arcane eyes and strength, far beyond his level. The Patriarch decides to play along with his granddaughter's plan, and vows that nobody will look down on the Luo family again. In the training hall, a purple-haired swordswoman fills the room with eerie energy. Her sword hums with power, but her heavy stance shows she is forcing every move. She explains that her title has not changed because she still has not found her own path. The arcane realm only acknowledges a swordswoman who breaks through herself. The Nali shares intel on Skinner. An archaeology expedition opened a sealed otherworldly object, and a monster slaughtered the team soon after. The case gets darker. Skinner was once an assassin, and both his mother and daughter were found brutally murdered before he disappeared. Xiao Menju thanks her for digging this up. Alni warns him that the powerful family he angered will likely come looking for him during the exam. Our boy admits his own family is terrified of offending that clan and pushed him out. Alni's face hardens as she tells him he is no longer under their thumb. She promises to stand between him and anyone who comes after him. That is a very intense way to offer dinner. The mood flips fast when Alni casually asks where they are eating. Xiao Menju freezes, suddenly realizing this sounds suspiciously like a date. Before he can recover, Alni gets a message. Her reclusive grandfather wants her outside the training hall immediately. Alni rushes out, and fiery projectiles rain down on the courtyard. Whoever sent that message clearly was not inviting her for tea. Miss Xiao suddenly channels her grandfather's teachings, and blazing sword energy coils around her like it has been waiting all night. She calls it the Luodo family's divine sword style. That is one seriously dramatic family lesson. She explains that her grandfather came by just to teach her a sword style, leaving Shen Ye quietly impressed. When Shen Ye clumsily invites her to dinner, Xiao laughs because they were already going together. Our boy realizes he accidentally made a normal plan sound like a date and instantly short-circuits. The two race through the night on a floating bike, laughing their way toward the party. Their destination is a towering castle, and the casual dinner is suddenly looking far less casual. At the entrance, Xiao tells Mr. Qian she is here with Shen Ye, drawing immediate attention to the pairing. Qian teases Shen Ye about bringing a girl to dinner, then warns him to watch his back tonight. Inside, hostile-looking crowd makes it clear this party is somebody's last chance to improve their ranking. Shen Ye cuts straight to the real question. What happens if he kills someone here? Qian says the big shots are watching, while a challenger sneers that Shen Ye should be more worried about losing. Wang Zhiyan, a 4-star rookie from the Wang family, steps up and openly challenges Shen Ye. At the rookie gathering, Wang Zhiyan loudly challenges Shen Ye, clearly expecting an easy win. But Qingyun moves first. Her blade flashes out so fast that Zhuge barely has time to panic. She coolly reminds everyone that this is supposed to be Shen Ye's duel, then tells him to finish it himself. The crowd watches Zhu Yan get folded while Qingyun sits among the event's top 5 fighters. That challenge aged terribly. Shen Ye takes the win, and his embarrassed opponent is left bleeding on the floor while everyone stares. Then Lady Anne arrives in full aristocratic style. She says she has heard plenty about Shen Ye. Lady Anne reveals a darker history. After Shen Ye trained to attack people, Qingyun and her sister were nearly mauled by the family dog. Shen Ye looks genuinely lost. He remembers saving the Som sisters, not the ugly story being thrown at him. Lady Anne suddenly offers him guaranteed admission and full school expenses through the Song family. There is one condition, and her expression makes it clear this gift has teeth. The condition is simple. Stay away from Qingyun. Shen Yun happily agrees the instant he hears about the guaranteed spot. Then he asks for Qingyun's picture, because he cannot even remember what she looks like. The room is stunned. At the rookie gala, everyone piles onto Shen Ye after he admits he cannot remember Song Qingyun. The room is already treating amnesia like a confession. For a fancy debut party, these people brought an impressive amount of courtroom energy. Shen Ye explains that he survived a major illness, then lost memories after a surgery. He has also lost his best friend and seen thousands die at the hotel. Lady Anne keeps the pressure on in front of cameras, demanding justice for the dead. Shen Ye realizes this whole performance is meant to make the crowd turn on him. Then Xiao Minju steps in. She says she investigated the case and found something important, shutting down Lady Anne's baseless rumor routine. Shen Ye calmly promises that now is the time to reveal the truth. Before the truth can land, Luo Erlang storms in and declares that Xiao Minju is engaged. He is clearly here to take control of her life for her. Xiao Minju does not flinch. Wrapped in a dark purple aura, she asks the only question that matters. Did anyone ask whether she agreed? Xiao and Gul faces the family with a cold stare. They planned her future without asking, and she is clearly done playing along. Her father may be furious, but this family meeting has already gone completely off the rails. Purple power erupts around Xiao Minju as the sword awakens. Its resonance rises, her attributes surge, and even its lethality doubles. The onlookers realize the impossible. Her title has changed. Xiao Minju is now recognized as a sword saint. The blue-robed man tries to seize control, but Xiao Minju tells him to withdraw his killing intent. Then the divine blade answers for her with one brutal flash. He crashes through the hall, defeated and coughing. Greed for a divine artifact just earned him a very public lesson. With the old owner rejected, Xiao Minju calmly asks whether Luo River's sword is willing to become her companion. The ranking board updates as the sword's power flows around her. Xiao Minju reaches a tie for first place. The crowd calls it artifact luck, but the truth is bigger. The sword recognizing Xiao Minju puts the Luo family's authority in her hands. Even the blue-haired youth sees it now. She has a boundless future. At the banquet, Xiao Minju says she has uncovered the truth. Someone used Song Qingyun as a shield while plotting Shen Yun as a shield while plotting Shen Ye's death. She is calm, but razor-sharp, and our boy knows this accusation is about to blow the room apart. The Song family representative glares back, furious at being accused in front of every major noble house. Subtle diplomacy has officially left the building. Then every phone, camera, and laptop suddenly catches fire, wiping out Xiao Minju's photos, videos, and documents. The nobles immediately call the proof fake and defend Song Qingyun, but Shen Ye sees the ugly truth. Status lets the powerful bury almost anything. Zhao Qianjun tries to silence the debate with a challenge, treating Xiao Minju like she should know her place. The confidence lasts seconds. Xiao Minju crushes Zhao Tianjun so completely that the hall has to announce his defeat. The crowd applauds her victory, but another ranked newcomer, Niu Ziqiang, steps forward to challenge her next. Shen Ye notices something nobody else can see. A poisonous green snake is coiled around Niu Ziqiang's body. The challenger is not just arrogant, he is being used. Shen Ye surrenders to Niu Ziqiang, baiting him into thinking he has earned an easy win. The trap snaps shut fast. Shen Ye calls out the hidden snake and attacks it directly, shocking everyone who thought he was punching empty air. The snake's controller panics as Shen Ye reveals his pharma eyes have already awakened. Her invisible weapon is invisible no more. A fourth-ranked disciple sends a glowing spirit snake after Shen Ye, convinced the boy cannot even see the attack. But Shen Ye slips through the strike with blue energy crackling around him. His Dharma eye has awakened. The spectators are stunned. Shen Ye is landing hits they cannot even follow, and the bully's confidence starts leaking fast. Furious, the rival unleashes a wild wind formation, chaining himself into a spinning storm to trap Shen Ye. The wind hurls Shen Ye skyward, but he stays absurdly composed. Apparently getting launched is just part of his warm-up. Shen Ye channels every attribute point into strength, pushing his power to 13.3. He grabs the rival by the collar and warns him to call off the snake before somebody gets hurt. The rival orders his own snake to bite Shen Ye, but Shen Ye laughs because he can see the creature perfectly now. One threat against his friends triggers Shen Ye's Northeast Divine Fist, and the technique upgrades to Blue Perfect. Shen Ye answers with a brutal punch that leaves a fourth-ranked disciple beaten, terrified, and finally aware he picked the wrong target. The rival's rage evaporates into fear. Shen Ye is not trying to win anymore. He looks ready to end this. In the academy hall, Shen Ye catches Nu Ziyang by the collar while the nobles watch. Like this is premium entertainment. Nu Ziyang tries to threaten him with family power, but Shen Ye looks completely unimpressed. Nu Ziyang admits the ugly truth. If Shen Ye kills him, the nobles can bury their own scandals along with him. Before the fight can turn fatal, Shen Ye flicks out a glowing blue force and sends his opponent flying. A Jilin Academy proctor forcibly stops the duel and tells the battered Nu Ziyang to recover for the exam. Then blue cards appear over the candidates. The tower's final evaluation has officially begun. Shen Ye receives the unyielding, a reward that grants a little extra survivability. Meat is apparently the emergency miracle item. The mood crashes when Shen Ye discovers his burning candle's flame has been stolen before the trial even starts. The thief is another candidate with an exploitation evaluation built to steal life from other people. Nu Ziyang heals and sneers that a small flame cannot fix Shen Ye's lack of resources or strength. Shen Ye answers by calling out the great nobles for taking everything from everyone else, then tells the other students to stand firm. Golden light swallows the candidates as the final exam teleports them away, and Shen Ye steps into the next fight without backing down. The exam begins at a towering cathedral, and the first round is simple on paper. Reach the floating island below or get eliminated. Xiaomen Ju lands in pitch-black chaos and instantly realizes this is not a normal test field. Shadowy nobles close in around him, because apparently the entrance exam comes with a murder squad. A blade cuts our boy's side, but he stays upright and turns the pain into a cold warning. He calls forth the Skeleton of Calamity, revealing he still has 2 uses left of his powerful card. Then a surprise system prompt invites him onto Xiaomenju's team, and he accepts before the shadows can finish the job. A purple-haired cultivator appears beside him, visibly relieved as his shared candle's flame heals the wound. Her team leader bonus doubles her combat power. Not bad for an emergency pickup. She explains that his Dharma Eye recognizes hidden mysteries from the Origin Realm, a gift most cultivators can only dream of. The ground gives way beneath them, so Xiaomenju grabs her hand and they leap into the abyss together. While they fall, she senses a vicious killing intent above. Xiaomenju knows stopping is not an option. Above them, the lurking nobles sense the curse to statue's power and decide to descend too. The real race has only started. Only 4 candidates survive the first round, and Shen Ye realizes the competition has just stopped playing nice. A composed 6-star candidate steps forward, looking like he expected this whole nightmare to roll out a red carpet. Their ride shows up in style when a dog turns into a wolf. Shen Ye is stunned, but nobody has time to question the pet upgrade. The group races through floating rubble toward an island below, where the terrain looks less like a test site and more like a bad omen. The second round is non-combat, at least on paper. They must find a divine statue and make it perform the rite of lamentation. Their purple-haired guide warns that candlelight helped the earlier candidates clear the fog, so the team starts hunting clues. Then one fallen god statue wakes up angry and demands a blood offering. Shen Ye's team gets a very direct lesson in divine customer service. Shen Ye spots a cracked horse statue, and his teammate quickly pieces it together. Every damaged divine statue carries its own twisted lamentation. Before they can solve it, the horse explodes into motion and attacks. 2 familiar figures suddenly appear with killing intent. Shen Ye is rattled, while Xiaomenju's dark power begins to surge. Red threads snap across the clearing and trap the group. The newcomers are not here to trade old memories. They came to settle something. Xiaomenju refuses to run. With the threads tightening around everyone, she prepares to unleash a power she clearly did not want to reveal. Shen Ye is suddenly trapped in a crimson web-like space, and he cannot even move as someone tells him it is time to settle an old score. Before that threat can land, the whole scene shifts. The fight has been forcibly cut off, because this stage has its own rules. They have been teleported to the edge of an exam zone where private battles are forbidden. One wrong move, and the exam kicks you out. Nothing says fair competition like a magical referee that hates everybody equally. Shen Ye recognizes the trick immediately. The strange red threads are a divine technique that can drag him into a separate world. He tells his purple-haired master to leave him behind, but she refuses. Her calm smile makes it clear that she is staying to protect him. Elsewhere, 2 desperate examinees meet a grotesque fallen god statue. It demands their ultimate yang essence before it will offer protection. The exam has officially become the worst customer service negotiation imaginable. The pair gamble on a secret art instead, launching a freezing attack at the statue. It looks impressive, but the monster barely treats it as a problem. Shen Ye realizes the statues are not meant to have their demands fulfilled. The real test is finding one whose request actually suits you. Then he spots a weathered statue gripping a sword. For Shen Ye, this may finally be the fallen god relic that answers back. At a ruined shrine, Zhang Menju approaches the giant statue and asks its sword spirit for protection before the wailing tide arrives. The statue gives her absolutely nothing. Our boy calmly points out she's been talking to the wrong object the whole time. When the sword finally reacts, Xiaomenju wastes no time. She launches into a fierce test, treating this silent relic like it owes her answers. The answer is huge. Xiaomenju's resonance clears the required threshold, marking her as a true sword saint. That is a serious upgrade for a statue trial in the middle of nowhere. Sword Spirit passes on an ancient finishing art, a one-hit killing move that perfectly matches her own sword style. But the technique drains massive spiritual power, and the wailing tide begins in only 5 minutes. The reward comes with a timer attached. Before they can search for another statue, Shen Ye and his group show up under the moon, clearly not here for a friendly reunion. Shen Ye vows to kill boy, while Xiaomenju immediately clocks the threat and prepares to hold the line. Our boy notices spiritual energy surging through the stream. The missing moonlight-type statue may be hiding right in the water. With seconds left, Xiaomenju calls the sword spirit and unleashes its power to buy him time. The race for the statue is officially on. In the dark forest, Shaman Zhao spots a swarm of glowing-eyed monsters crawling out of the wailing tide. She stays cool, but her sword is already moving. She cuts through the first wave with one clean slash. The bugs scatter fast, which is a very sensible response to that sword. Then the real problem appears. A giant many-eyed hand locks Xiaomenju in place, and her calm expression turns sharply alarmed. She realizes this thing is not just attacking her body, it is trying to freeze her mind too. Xiaomenju forces herself free and hacks the hand apart before it can finish the job. She looks furious now, and the monster immediately regrets its career choice. Even after breaking the spell, she is shaken by how powerful that hand was. The wailing tide is clearly hiding monsters far worse than insects. A few minutes later, Shen Ye and Xiaomenju reach a rocky shelter. Outside, the fog has turned blood red, so neither of them trusts the night anymore. A carved piece of wood suddenly sprouts roots and leaves. Shen Ye watches in stunned confusion as the supposed divine tree finally reacts to him. Its grand request is not treasure or worship. It wants water, and apparently it has standards. Shen Ye pulls out a bottle of cola and pours it over the thirsty tree. Xiaomenju looks baffled, but the weird little deity seems delighted. Shen Ye finds a bizarre sapling in the dark and realizes it needs more than water. It is asking for sunlight too. The purple-haired swordswoman gets completely charmed by the little tree, while Shen Ye works out its idea of brightness is pure flattery. After fertilizer, the plant demands a poem. Shen Ye recites one with full confidence, and somehow that counts as premium gardening. The offering succeeds. The sapling folds into a strange wooden orb and asks Shen Ye to carry it for protection. Before they can test that promise, a massive one-eyed centipede tears into the clearing and turns their quiet stop into a fight. Shen Ye's sword flashes out on its own, carving into the monster. Our boy is impressed for exactly 1 second. The ground erupts beneath Shen Ye and black roots drag him toward the monster before he can dodge. The wooden orb swaps itself into its place and takes the hit. Its first trick is not subtle, but it is very useful. The tree offers Shen Ye a drop of blood for temporary power, while the skeletal insect happily treats the centipede like dinner. The monster whips up a violent storm of debris as Shen Ye and his ally brace themselves for the next move. The centipede looms over them with its single burning eye, and the chapter leaves their escape hanging by a thread. Menyu gets pinned by the eye-covered giant, and Shen Ye can only watch as its massive hand closes in. Then Shen Ye fires his strange sword spirit into the monster's arm, buying Menyu the opening she needs. The giant is getting bullied by a flying gourd. That was not on its threat assessment. Shen Ye realizes the creature attacks anyone without a protected weapon, so he keeps his attention locked on him. Our boy suddenly bursts forward with flowing moon, using a fate pass to slip past the giant's guard. Menju catches the timing perfectly and swings the broken sword down with everything she has. Instead of failing, the blade answers her like it remembers a far stronger owner. Menyu feels a surge of courage from the sword. Its original master's ability is still alive inside it. The little spirit explains that the giant grew dangerous through repeated life and death battles, then immediately asks if Shen Ye can eat it. With the giant defeated, its powerful aura keeps the tide monsters from approaching them. For once, survival comes with a useful bonus. That relief dies fast when cries and barking rise from the forest, and two battered candidates crash into their path. Zheng Xiaoyue is bruised and shaken as he reveals the ugly twist. A noble candidate is trying to kill them. The group is already rattled. Their exam rules are blocking attacks, yet a mysterious wolf is hunting them anyway. Then a hooded man with burning ember eyes steps out of the red mist. This guy looks like the final boss arrived early. He calmly explains the catch. The rules have changed, and candidates can now attack each other during the hunt. A sword materializes as the new terms become clear. Death counts as part of the exam, and successful hunters get stronger. The hooded hunter sneers at the lower range candidates and treats them like stepping stones. Then he attacks without hesitation. Purple power floods the clearing as he stands over his victim, completely unbothered by the chaos he just caused. A purple-haired fighter finally snaps and draws her golden weapon, swearing to make him pay for the children he killed. But the hunter only laughs. He thinks her strength comes from borrowed power, and he is ready to prove she is nothing without it. Under a blood-red sky, Xiahou Menju faces a black-cloaked attacker moving so fast even Shen Ye can barely track him. The assassin throws out a shadow strike, but Xiahou Menju blocks it cleanly. That confident look says she came prepared. His dramatic shadow monster just got stopped by one very unimpressed swordwoman. Then Xiahou Menju catches his blade with one hand and takes control of the exchange before he can finish his threat. She counters with the Renan Snow Sword, forcing his purple shadow attack aside in a shower of sparks. The hooded killer admits he uttered emitter. He recognizes the snowclap returning shadow technique, then decides fighting fair is no longer useful. Instead of pressing the duel, he melts into the shadows and retreats. Xiahou Menju realizes someone else has been hiding nearby. Shen Ye searches for the banished attacker while Xiahou Menju refuses to let him escape and orders the others to get moving. Before they can chase him, arrows suddenly rain down from the dark. The ambush was bigger than one shadowy swordsman. New enemies step out with a smug grin, saying they found Xiahou Menju first. They know exactly where she is, and they want the prize she carries. Their leader gives the order, kill her and seize the Luo family's sacred sword. Now this duel has turned into a full-scale hunt. The white-haired fighter takes Shen Ye strike hard, but his anger only gets worse. He's dead set on killing him. He swallows 2 pills to force out more power, then freezes when Shen Ye's elemental attack tears through him. Bleeding and trapped in the shadows, the defeated man finally realizes who beat him, Shen Ye. The wounded fighter tries to bargain. He offers Shen Ye pills, weapons, divine items, even his family support. That is one very expensive apology, and Shen Ye is not buying it. Instead, Shen Yu notices a life support device nearby and asks if it can save the fallen noble candidates. The answer lands cold. They are already dead, and the device cannot undo that. The dying man lashes out at Shen Yu for destroying his family's future, but the trial has no room for mercy. With the candidate dead, Shen Ye absorbs the killer's power boost and strengthens his meat shield. Finally, a reward that actually matters. Before he can breathe, Shen Ye senses 2 more people closing in behind him, and fire comes screaming across the field. A grinning classmate joins the ambush, treating Shen Ye like easy money. Bad timing, buddy. Shen Ye counts the new threats and realizes the hunt has grown to 8 people. Shen Ye realizes 8 people are closing in around him, and he bolts before their glowing attacks can box him in. This is not a chase anymore. It is a full 4-sized ambush, because apparently one target was not enough work for them. He spots the weak point in their encirclement and bursts east, trusting his boosted agility to outrun the barrage. The hunters immediately redirect north. Their target is moving fast, but they are far too organized to lose him that easily. Then Shen Ye learns the ugly truth. These cloaked trackers can keep locking onto his real-time location. Running harder will not solve a tracking skill this unfair. So our boy stops fleeing and blocks the flying blades head-on, turning the pursuit into a close-range brawl. A heavy strike sends Shen Ye flying, but he snatches an opponent on the way down instead of giving them a clean finish. The sword user thinks Shen Ye stole the prey for himself. He has no idea he is about to become the escape plan. Shen Ye grabs the swordsman and coolly thanks him for helping break out of the encirclement. That is one brutal taxi service. The counter reveals itself, human shield, After taking enough fatal hits, Shen Ye can force the damage to become someone else's problem. The hunters explained the rules changed after a major clan announced their reward. Every clan can now see the hunt's real-time location except Shen Ye and Sigmung. Shen Ye reaches the bounties and still chasing answers, but nobody can even identify the noble family behind it. The attackers arrive way too fast. Shen Ye hears that Li Yinghuai may already be dead and the pressure instantly spikes. With trackers closing in, our boy splits from his ally and insists he has a clever plan. Famous last words, usually. The wailing tide ends after eliminating 429 people. The survivors now have 3 days to endure this floating island. The next stage begins with an ambush. Chains whip around Shen Ye before he can get a second to breathe. His enemy recognizes the afterimages immediately. Shen Ye's movement is sharp, but these hunters are clearly not ordinary candidates. Shen Ye fires back with a thunderstrike, stacking card effects and raw power into one nasty counterattack. Then he reveals the real trick. Every attribute point went into agility. Suddenly, nobody can keep up with him. The pursuers think he is trapped, but Shen Ye has turned their whole setup into a turtle jar. He bursts through the opening at full speed and slams an attacker straight through the ground. Even their shield card cannot save them. Shen Ye calmly confirms that his plan worked exactly as intended. In the Midnight Forest, 3 examiners corner Shen Ye and competently launch their trap. They brought numbers, which is usually useful until the other guy has better ideas. The green-cloaked sisters surge forward together, convinced their coordinated attack has him pinned. Shen Ye slips through their timing and answers with one brutal, precise slash. When the dust settles, all 3 examiners are down. His shadow style has enough range to erase a group before they can react. The other examinees arrive to find the 3 Xiao sisters dead, and their confidence immediately evaporates. They know Shen Ye should not be this dangerous, so they decide he must be hiding nearby. The survivors split up to hunt him, even though one of them admits the escape route makes no sense. One hunter hears movement, grins like he has found easy prey, and charges toward Shen Ye. He finds Shen Ye alright, but the tables turn instantly when a shadowy hand takes control of him. The hunter can only stare in terror as Shen Yu's calm voice asks who really found whom. The others shout that they found Shen Ye, then a severed head drops in answer. That search party is having a terrible night. Shen Ye is already bleeding in the forest, but he keeps moving while a pack of pursuers closes in. He throws out murmurs of the dark, hoping the eerie voices will pull their attention away. Our boy plans to bait them into a sword art opening, then land one fatal strike. Very optimistic for someone surrounded by corpses. The distraction works so well that even a severed head starts shouting Shen Ye's location from the grass. The search party spots movement and Shen Ye suddenly bursts from cover with his blade ready. Their warning comes a second too late. He cuts through one target, but the red-eyed observer stays calm and points out the real danger. Shen Ye can make the dead speak, and he can disappear into shadows. Even badly wounded, Shen Ye vanishes again. In this forest, every shadow is another hiding place. The red-eyed man decides hiding will not save Shen Ye if the whole forest is forced to the ground. A blazing Wang family technique erupts through the trees, turning the dark forest into a roaring fire trap. With flames curling around him, the attacker calls everyone nearby to gather. Shen Ye's escape route is getting very small. A red-haired fighter calls everyone back, then rockets into the sky with fire exploding around him. He is not arriving quietly. Apparently entrances need a blast radius. With a cold smile, he forms a seal and unleashes the Samadhi fire mantra. The flames twist into a towering cyclone, swallowing the forest and turning the whole arena into an oven. Inside the burning prison, the glasses-wearing fighter is already battered. His defense has been used twice and the heat keeps closing in. The attackers believe this is enough to crush Shen Ye and every noble family beside him. The firecaster explains the real trick. A cursed flame core has sealed the group behind walls of fire, cutting them off from the outside. Then the counterattack begins. A 3-day wilderness survival trial triggers random disasters from the sky. Surviving the fire was only the warm-up. A savage hailstorm tears through the battlefield. Ice shards rip into the trapped fighters before they can even find cover. Shen Ye refuses to fold. He tells the others to stay put while he uses the blazing beast to destroy the hail. But the fire curse is draining its user fast. Watching him weaken, the bespectacled rival steps forward and promises to finish the job himself. Then an icy aura erupts from the storm, forming a huge, skull-like shadow behind a figure in the snow. Whatever just appeared, It feels less like weather and more like death showing up early. A freezing aura erupts from the ground and a giant skull-shaped skeleton looms over the battlefield. Our blue-haired fighter has summoned something that looks far too happy to bring death. He realizes the skeleton is made from cold power and it has been absorbing energy to recover itself. So yes, the emergency healing plan apparently came with a haunted bone monster. With the creature restored, he stops playing defense and sends it straight back at their attackers. The red-haired warrior sees the skeleton and immediately knows this fight just became a calamity-level problem. He charges in with blazing confidence, convinced he can flatten the skeleton with one brutal attack. The counterattack sends him flying while the skeleton unleashes a merciless storm of ice. The skeleton judges the hailstorm as brutal but not lethal, then notices the forest was already burned by its enemies. It spots a valuable gold bracelet among the bodies, and that clue changes its attention. A boy hides under the hail among the corpses, quietly watching the survivors panic. Shuhei tries to lure the skeleton toward himself, begging for help while another survivor orders him to kill it. The gamble fails instantly. Shuhei is cut down before he can turn the monster into someone else's problem. Then a green serpent addresses the blue-haired fighter directly, and he finds the talking creature genuinely interesting. The serpent says it has a little secret, which is never how a normal conversation starts. A glowing serpent warns the blue-haired fighter that the noble families are no sacred bloodline. This world is messier than it looks. It even calls them nests of deities, which is not exactly comforting bedtime lore. The serpent leaves him with one chilling promise: survive long enough and they will meet again. Elsewhere, meteors start hammering the trial ground. Our dark-haired candidate grabs a door and uses it as a shield. When the weather throws fireballs, apparently furniture becomes tactical equipment. He realizes the little statue can reset once the trial ends, then offers blood to make it bond with him. The strange figure accepts, tells him to find cover at the river bottom, and promises to wait for him. His door earns the meat shield perk, redirecting transfer damage to the wood. That means more traits, and another route to get stronger. The reward barely lands before the scene shifts. Another fight has already erupted nearby. A soldier rushes in screaming that the undead have breached, then freezes as their army fills the dark forest. Behind the undead stands a terrifying shadowy commander. The little statue immediately realizes this trial just jumped from survival mode to boss fight. The statue tries to explain, but the skeletal enemy keeps feeding it bogus information. Even the exposition is under attack. Prince Norton faces a towering undead master and realizes this meeting has gone very wrong, very fast. The titles he carries are not even his alone. Invisible enemies are packed around him, and Norton knows one bad answer gets him killed. So he offers a deal. He is headed for the human prince anyway, and he could become the undead's inside man. Norton explains how the humans grew rich by squeezing workers and swallowing nearby lands. Their shiny empire has plenty of cracks. He even calls them the most despicable capitalists around. Somehow the undead commander seems to respect the rant. Master Frey gives Norton a glowing stone that supposedly maps the undead clan's locations. Trustworthy gift, definitely not suspicious at all. Freud tells him to enter the undead camp, reach Norton, and strike directly. If he succeeds, the master promises a clean escape. Norton stares at the stone, sweating. The longer he holds it, the more it feels like a bomb disguised as a mission briefing. Still, he agrees and guarantees the mission. Our boy is walking into an undead fortress with confidence, doing most of the heavy lifting. Frege immediately sends him flying with a casual farewell, proving the deal comes with zero customer service. The undead spot Norton carrying valuable information and rush to kill him before he can get away. Frege watches coldly, calling Norton a disposable pawn and declaring that vulnerable humans are destined to die. Piki drops into a forest crawling with undead, and the armored squad barely holds the line. The soldiers realize the target is Saint Piki, but he is already surrounded and fighting for every second. A pale elf messenger reveals the real threat. Undead assassins are hunting Prince Norton and the rulers who shelter him. Inside the tent, Norton lies wrapped in bandages as poisonous undead energy tears to his body. Piki rushes in, shocked to find the prince still conscious but fading fast. Even the strongest healers admit defeat. Norton's organs are failing, and ordinary magic cannot save him. Piki refuses to quit. He pulls out a family healing secret and bets everything on one desperate try. Norton tries to stay calm, then recognizes Piki as the knight who earned the title of saint. Piki promises he will save him, even while the strange spell burns in his hand. Outside, the undead commander checks the corruption stone and realizes it did not finish Norton. So he switches plans and readies a soul detonation bomb, because regular assassination was apparently too subtle. The commander is certain the human boy is trapped inside the tent with the prince, making the blast a perfect double kill. But the bomb gives no reaction from this distance. The undead commander can only glare while his troops wonder why he is yelling at nothing. The undead leader stalks toward the human camp, furious that Norton keeps denying him an easy massacre. He promises to wipe humanity out forever, which is a lot of confidence for a guy still standing out of range. The monster keeps trying to force his way closer, but the camp's defenses can still make him hesitate. His soldiers realize their leader is charging straight into danger anyway, and they scramble to hold the line. Inside the camp, Prince Freda lies badly wounded. The medicine is only buying time, and everyone can see it. Norton looks at his high-tech medical machine. It could save Freda, but pulling it out now may terrify the people of this world. Freda is still worried about the ordinary people being hunted, even while his own body is failing. For all his noble status, he hates the undead's cruel system just as much as Norton does. Freda asks Norton for a sedative. He wants to sleep through the pain and let the troops focus on survival. Norton refuses to write him off. He loads Freda into the medical pod because this prince is absolutely worth saving. The machine begins its long repair job, so Norton turns to the next problem, getting everyone through the gate alive. With fire outside and a wounded prince in his arms, Norton carries Freda through the doorway. The escape is not elegant, but in a siege, alive is the deluxe package. Shen Ye finally limps out of the burning trial grounds, exhausted but alive. The fire rain is still falling, because apparently one apocalypse was not enough. His reward arrives at last, the exceptional attribute called the Boy Who Lived, earned for saving the human empire's prince. Every time Shen Ye escapes mortal danger, all his basic attributes rise by 2 points. That is a very profitable survival habit. Then the reward gets even crazier. Shen Ye gains a unique gate that can connect realms and summon doors across the world. The attribute activates, flooding his body with power and raising every basic stat again. Our boy can feel the difference immediately. After resting, Shen Ye returns to the rain-soaked testing grounds where his headphone-wearing little sister has been waiting anxiously for him. But a black-haired substitute suddenly rises behind her, wrapped in a sinister red aura. This reunion just got aggressively unsafe. The stranger senses a conspiracy hovering around the girl and warns that danger is already close, while the child refuses to be intimidated. With glowing red eyes, the girl coldly tells the substitute she has killed 15 examinees and should not meddle in Shen Ye's affairs. A golden light flares around the girl as she simply tells the woman to remember her words. She looks way too calm for this threat level. The substitute finally sweats, realizing the girl can see through the hidden forces at work. For now, she chooses to watch instead of pushing her luck. In the pouring rain, a white-haired elder tracks a vicious blue aura and realizes the missing boy is in serious trouble. He suspects powerful families are searching too, which means this rescue is about to get crowded. Meanwhile, Shen Ye wakes in the nightmare world after his body repair finishes. He is alive, but very confused about where he landed. The Blunt Prince wakes beside him in an abandoned undead passage, equally shaken but clearly relieved to be breathing. Their escape route is collapsing, so staying put is not an option. The prince reveals a teleportation crystal that can send them to one of several hidden safe houses. Random teleportation during a crisis because apparently regular exits were too easy. They arrive in a quiet forest cabin, and the prince finally has a place to recover. Shen Ye leaves him behind for a moment, determined to check the danger outside. Shen Ye summons the gate again. The moment he steps through, the nightmare world releases its grip, and the fiery rain stops. He returns to find an old warrior already fighting. Shen Ye barely has time to register the scene before he gets blasted away. The attacker was only a substitute body, which explains why Shen Ye's hit did nothing. The real threat now reveals himself. Wrapped in crackling blue power, the elder tells Shen Ye to run as the enemy prepares to finish him off. In the rain, Shen Ye gets a burst of agility and immediately runs. He knows this is not the moment to play hero. His enemy whips up a savage soundwave cyclone, trying to trap Shen Ye before he can vanish into the storm. The attack seems certain to crush him, but Shen Ye burns one use of human shield and leaves a substitute behind. The enemy is yelling at a decoy now. That is a rough day at work. An older observer notices the battlefield is unnaturally empty, even down to the missing heartbeat. Shen Ye's escape was way too clean. Elsewhere, a scout reports the disaster to Saint Begui and admits the search party found no trace of Shen Ye. But he still rewards the report with praise and a future promotion. Apparently battlefield paperwork pays. Then the scout hears a voice behind him and freezes. The demon Freeg is already inside the room. Freeg has been hiding inside a protective barrier, using the Empire's own godly bloodline as bait to stay concealed. Shen Ye calmly explains the loophole, and Freeg finally understands why the boy exposed his life flames instead of simply running. Furious at being outplayed, Freeg decides to burn Shen Ye's soul out in front of everyone. Subtle is officially off the schedule. But the barrier suddenly twists under Freeg's attack, and the demon stares in disbelief as something breaks through. A colossal limb descends from a spatial summon, and the old observer can only call it what it is, a calamity. Shen Ye wakes in a rain-soaked spatial calamity, and realizes he has walked straight into Hulaman's trap. The purple-haired killer is thrilled. He thinks Shen Ye's death will wipe out a future problem before it grows. Nothing says confidence like announcing your villain plan during the fight. A brutal blast tears through the storm, and Shen Ye can barely process how a human can hit this hard without a weapon. Shen Ye vanishes for a second, but the enemy catches the trail and rains down dark spikes to pin him in place. Cornered, Shen Ye gathers a blazing white-blue attack and fires back with Star of the White Tiger. The strike detonates against the stone, but the enemy brushes it off like it was barely worth mentioning. Then Shen Ye remembers the Nightmare World escape method. Once he finds a safe route, he can become almost impossible to catch. First, though, he needs the black stone Freeg gave him. The stone is an explosive soul bomb. Shen Ye only needs to throw it, then get out before the fight gets truly insane. With danger closing in, Shen Ye steadies himself and decides to trust the plan one last time. The blue-haired fighter bolts from the room, determined to find Fern before this little ambush gets worse. But a second presence slips into the rain. The shadowy monster sees the chase as a golden opportunity. It unleashes shadowy bone dance, wrapping the escape route in a cage of jagged darkness. Our boy is not trapped quietly. He answers with a roaring blue tiger that tears straight through the bone prison. The tiger crashes down hard, and the blue-haired fighter rides the opening like he planned the whole mess. Then a blue copy drops in. Apparently one of him was already enough paperwork. The shadow creature finally recognizes Shen Ye's trick. It was lured into an ambush, and it is furious about it. The trap snaps shut as a violent purple blast hammers the battlefield, sending its victim flying. While the monsters trade blows, Fern's little scout finds what everyone came for, a shining purple object in the mud. The shadow creature realizes the ugly truth. Someone set both enemies up and expected them to kill each other. Shen Ye tries to stop the fight, warning that a third party needs both their heads. But Fern still has not returned. The blue-haired fighter cannot wait for death. He is dead set on finding a way to time travel and return. He launches a full power strike at the old warrior, but the blade will not break through that impossible defense. The elder catches him anyway and reveals the nasty part. Their shared poison will kill them both if either one falls. That is one brutal insurance policy. Then the fighter finds one tiny opening and blasts a hole straight through his opponent. He thinks the mission is finally over, but Freeg calls out the betrayal and warns that an ancient force has noticed them. A black many-eyed calamity rises behind them, and the blue-haired fighter realizes the fight just became much bigger. Freeg recognizes the threat as the Supreme Lord's destroyer of worlds, just as a purple core begins to flare. The creature opens wide and fires a soul blast bomb. Even Freeg tells everyone to move, and fast. Freeg survives the blast, furious but focused. He refuses to let a mere human escape while another calamity is on the field. Then Freeg's weapon and body begin breaking apart in violet sparks. The attack did more than wound him. He stares at his disappearing form in disbelief, as the battle leaves only shattered debris and one glowing eye behind. The undead reveal their ultimate weapon, a soul bomb built to erase a target completely. It is not brute force either. This thing turns spiritual particles into a chain reaction. Extremely rude science. Their scientists call it the spiritual concussive blast bomb, and even the remote trigger needs a special death spell. Shen Ye somehow survives the blast, and the door recognizes his escape as a major achievement. His basic attribute points jump, and the system offers him a trait reward. He gets a choice between the 1-in-a-million boy who lived and the little match boy. Our boy picks the little match boy. Apparently surviving a soul nuke was not enough gambling for one day. The purple trait boosts his odds of gaining stronger traits whenever he enters a door for the next few days. The victory celebration dies fast when Zhao Yue appears, for wicked ghost energy suddenly far more dangerous. Shen Ye tries to flee through the door, but Zhao Yue calmly avoids every attack and cuts off his route. She is clearly enjoying the chase, which is never a comforting sign. Just as she moves in, a brown-haired girl orders Zhao Yue away from him and launches Shen Ye into the storm. A golden force catches him mid-fall. The girl has saved him before, and Shen Ye finally realizes who she is. In the rain, Shen Ye recognizes the trembling girl as Song Yian, the younger sister of someone he once saved. She is fading fast, and his calm expression cracks when he realizes something is seriously wrong. The problem is a vicious curse that nobody has managed to break. Naturally, this kid has been carrying nightmare difficulty. Song Yichen asks him to keep away to contact her. She wants to repay the person who saved her. Shen Ye agrees to try, but he refuses to promise a miracle. Before leaving, the girl opens a strange doorway and explains that, by her people's rules, a life-saving debt must be repaid. Shen Ye only wants help breaking curses. She's apparently handed him a cosmic customer service hotline. Elsewhere, a dark-haired woman dismisses human logic and begins explaining how deities truly feed. Shuzuo cultivates entire planets, letting life and civilization flourish until each world reaches its perfect peak. Then comes the harvest. When a world matures, he rains destruction down, gathers every soul, and devours them whole. For Shen Ye, this planet is not food. It is a world still growing, and he intends to protect it until it can stand on its own. The wounded blonde knight wakes up hurting badly and finds blue-haired Biji right beside him with a bright, relieved smile. The knight snaps back into royal duelist mode, transforms in a blaze of gold, and declares Beiki a traitor. Subtle diplomacy has left the building. Before the fight can get worse, Beiki takes a flying hit and produces the royal night ring, proving he has already completed the royal trial. A report confirms the frost demon is dead. The knight is stunned to learn Beiki's undead brother Fern used a secret weapon to finish a legendary enemy. Beiki explains why that weapon must stay protected. Intellectual property keeps the Empire from stealing it and turning it into another disposable copy. The blonde royal says he can grant anything, then carefully probes Beiki's ambitions. Wealth, power, women, treasures, whatever he wants. Beiki sees the trap immediately. The royal is testing whether this apparently selfless hero will finally reveal some greedy desire. Instead, Beiki asks for the green necklace on the knight's chest, a rare sacred jewel of compassion that can remove powerful curses. He wanted to save a cursed friend, not to get rich. The knight hands it over, genuinely shaken by the answer. The royal finally gives Beiki his verdict. He is worthy of the name Saint Beiki. Our boy passed the temptation test without even reaching for the loot. At the shelter, the prince recovers completely under natural power, and his allies prepare to head back into the battlefield. Meanwhile, Shen Ye picks up a broken stone tablet. It might be a jewel, or it might be the kind of loot that ruins your whole week. The survival stage ends with 736 people eliminated, proving the next test will be even nastier. Shen Ye gets a huge reward, reviving withered bones. It forces his body to stay alive and heal, but makes him much harder to kill. As Shen Ye races to join Xiahou Menju's team, another group searches the testing grounds for Mier. A long-haired man in ceremonial robes finds an old marked stone and calls out for Brother Guanchu. He is not here for rankings or survival. He came looking for a duel and something to return. The stranger reveals the prize, a divine artifact of the Wang family found right here in the testing grounds. Then the artifact detonates with terrifying force, announcing that this old family business is about to get very loud. A furious spider shrubs off the flames and demands Fu Chen convince Shen Ye killed the man who carried it. He wants the artifact to avenge his brother, but the calm robed man refuses to hand it over. The attacker charges straight through the artifact's golden barrier. The robed man answers with one cold challenge: bring it. A furious cultivator unleashes a flaming monster and demands Shen Ye hand it over. This argument has already skipped straight to apocalypse mode. The creature howls through the fire, and its master swears Shen Ye will be reduced to ash. Nangong Siri suddenly intervenes, wrapping the beast in brilliant golden power while everyone watches in shock. The flames die out, leaving the attacker crushed and humiliated. He decides the Wang family will pay for this later. For now, he retreats to report the disaster. A sore loser with a divine complaint department is never ideal. Meanwhile, the remaining examinees find a tunnel as the trial announces that 93 people have already been eliminated. 3 glowing doors rise from the cavern floor. Each one leads to a different elite academy and a different final exam. The group weighs their options. Jian is prestigious, Nadir is full of secrets, and Terran offers more practical route. Xiao Menju chooses Jialan, while the blue-haired boy and Guo Yunye head for Terran. Xiao Menju steps through Jialan's gate alone, disappearing into a flood of gold light. Shen Ye arrives in a dark prison chamber, and the final exam gives him one clear mission: get a key from a prisoner and escape. Then he spots the chained prisoner gripping that key. The test is simple on paper, which is exactly why it will not be simple. The test sends our blue-haired fighter to free a prisoner, but the chained woman is wary the second she sees him. She panics when he reaches for the key. It is wired to the bomb collar around her neck, so one wrong touch could end horribly. The prisoner claims someone from the Luo clan promised to clear her name and save her. Her hope is hanging on by a thread. The key lies right beside her, which makes the setup look way too easy. Naturally, it is a trap. This place has no subtlety. Red-eyed beasts crawl out of the darkness and swarm the intruder, turning a rescue mission into a monster ambush. The creatures fuse into a flaming 9-headed beast. It looks like a phantom version, but it is still very much trying to eat him. His strange companion warns that this phantom is stronger than the real monster, even at only 1/10 of its true power. With the beast boiling the ground around them, the little skeleton activates its super transformation mode. The tiny companion becomes a massive skeleton king, then shuts down the celebration with one cold warning: do not call its last words yet. Skeleton King charges through the burning tunnel while his little skull companion keeps shouting for him to move. The exit is right there, which is exactly when the dungeon decides to become extremely rude. Our boy spots the opening. His ice-loaded kick can counter the fire, but he knows he learned this move far too late. Still, stopping now means getting roasted, so he commits. The monster starts charging a massive attack, and Skeleton King tells his partner to ignore it and sprint for the door. He unleashes white bone metal, carving a blazing path through the attack just long enough to reach the exit. They dive through the open door together, and Skeleton King celebrates passing the Jialan High School stage. On the other side, Luo Feichuan is chained beside a mysterious purple-haired woman. He says the key can free her, but it might also trigger a bomb. She makes the stakes brutally clear. If she dies, nobody is leaving. The rescue turns ugly fast. A hulking monster rises from the shadows, thanking them for freeing him before promising to crush them. The purple-haired woman realizes she was deceived. The monster claims her brother was never innocent, and her confidence cracks under the accusation. Before the truth can settle, the stage ends. Skeleton King is teleported away as the system announces he took first place in the exam. Xiao Mingyu takes first place in the opening test, becoming the newest student at Zhang Academy. Not a bad start. But the masters revealed a nasty catch. Outside entities chose these tests, and the rules can change when a realm demands a battle. That means the exam has already claimed lives. Meanwhile, Shen Ye gets dropped into a dark underground realm, where the test suddenly feels a lot less academic. His team is disbanded, and our boy is ordered to face the current arcane realm alone. Very generous exam policy. A black-haired girl appears through crimson threads and admits she never expected Shen Ye to survive. Shen Ye instantly calls out the setup. His original opponent was meant to be an ordinary monster, but someone replaced it. The intruder explains that humans already activated a similar barrier, drawing her straight to this place. She calls herself the Lord of the Sorrowful Realm, an alien goddess using Zhao Yibing's body. Shen Ye watches her terrifying evaluation stats rise and realizes this parasite needs more human blood to unlock greater power. Instead of attacking, she offers a strange alliance. She says she can protect Shen Ye even if humanity turns against him. Shen Ye refuses. The goddess does not force him though. She simply smiles and asks him to make a bet. A black-haired demon offers Shen Ye a hidden trial, smiling like she already knows he will fail. The reward is freedom. The penalty is becoming her man. That is one aggressively bad terms and conditions page. The bet locks in. Shen Ye is wrapped in red threads, and this trial uses the opponent's own power against them. A long-haired woman appears in the cavern, while the red web tightens around the trapped contestants. Shen Ye snaps at the stranger to get out of his sight, but she answers with a cold, focused stare. Then the entire arcane realm begins to shake apart. Behind Shen Ye, a terrifying red-eyed force surges into view. The woman refuses to be intimidated. She calls Shen Ye clever, then moves to take control of the collapsing trap. A blazing doorway tears open in the cavern. Shen Ye has found the escape route, and the demon's little game is suddenly over. The system confirms every test is complete and teleports Shen Ye to the academic advancement hall. The survivors realize he was kicked out of the arcane realm, while the demon calmly uses a door technique to leave. Even after the chaos, the black-haired demon admits she has grown to like Shen Ye more, and promises him another gift. A pale, red-eyed woman tells Shen Ye the hidden challenge is already prepared, and she expects him to die inside it. She offers him a cruel deal. Surrender now, let the bombs erase Cloud's fire port, and survive as one of her followers. Shen Ye catches the flaw immediately. Blowing up an island to rebuild your strength is not exactly a subtle plan. When he refuses, she gives him a red thread leading to a challenge beneath the underground river, then promises to watch him fall. Sweating but furious, Shen Ye heads in anyway. He is not some monster she can casually corrupt, and he refuses to die on schedule. Above ground, Nangang Sivui takes second place while the academy exam reaches its final minutes, completely unaware of Shen Ye's detour. Deep below the testing grounds, Shen Ye reaches the river's end and finds a massive stone gate blocking his path. The gate will not move for his strength alone. Its strange hand and eye seal matches the multi-eyed giant Shen Ye defeated before. So Shen Ye uses the remains he absorbed to simulate the creature's bones and transforms into the multi-eyed giant, even if only halfway restored. The gate opens onto a hidden arena, and Shen Ye finally sees what this so-called challenge has been saving for him. A red-haired armored warrior waits with spear in hand, while a pair of glowing red eyes rises from the darkness behind him. A blue-haired challenger enters the vast sky gate, where an ancient statue has waited alone for 1,000 years. The gatekeeper reveals the trial is brutally simple. Defeat him. Naturally, the statue looks very pleased with himself. Our challenger quietly shifts his points, pushing his body for speed before the first real exchange begins. He fires off Moonplow and Thunderclap, and the statue is genuinely impressed by the attack's first-level power. But the gatekeeper warns that stronger stats would let him block it completely. Instead of backing down, the statue unleashes a towering blue transformation and dares him to prove he belongs here. The challenger enters with his own surprise, the centipede skeleton, a terrifying creature from the netherworld. The skeletal beast moves so fast that even its owner can barely follow it. That is never a relaxing sentence. It tears in with inevitable disarm and snatches the statue's weapon clean away, earning a rare compliment. The statue still lands a crushing counterattack, and a recovery skill barely keeps the challenger from going down. Bleeding and overwhelmed, he realizes his gatekeeper is far stronger than he expected. Zhao Yibing stares down a statue far stronger than him, realizing brute force will not get him through this test. The Flaming Stone Guardian admits his reactions are sharp, then casually blocks another strike. Confidence is apparently part of the armor. A violent frost attack tears across the chamber, forcing our boy onto the defensive as ice floods the battlefield. Pinned inside the freezing assault, Zhao Yuming refuses to accept fate. His expression says he is done being treated like prey. Then, the huge stone gate crashes down and traps the Guardian itself. Zhao Yibing did not escape the trap, he redirected it. He follows up with a blazing downward strike, shattering the gate's surface while the trapped enemy struggles underneath. The Guardian praises the attack but calmly says it has survived thousands of years. That is not the reaction Zhao Yibing wanted. With red eyes glowing through the stone, the gate reveals the real problem. Zhao Yibing may have stepped into its trap twice. The stone gatekeeper catches Jialan with a fatal hit and calmly tells him this tombstone is about to be his. Jialan realizes the gate's pressure has triggered a delayed effect. His body is failing, but he still bets everything on one last attack. Then he slips beyond the testing grounds, and the trial gives him 5 seconds to get back before it erases him. Very welcoming customer service. With only a second left, Jialan launches the Taiba sword art and throws away his own safety for a finishing blow. The countdown reaches 3 seconds as the gatekeeper's sword comes down. Jialan is battered, desperate, and somehow still moving. His strike finally lands, slicing through the gatekeeper's weapon and dropping the armored monster into the water. The gatekeeper is impressed, revealing that Jialan has just learned Taiba, a sword art that can cross time and space. The trial opens Jialan's eyes to 4 powerful sects: Jialan, Nadir, Terran, and Vast Sky, with Vast Sky ruling over the rest. The gatekeeper points him toward the Vast Sky Gate, an ancient inheritance ground where a bigger chance and bigger secrets are waiting. The gatekeeper dies after the trial, but Jialan's narrow survival activates a new reward. the boy who lived evaluation. Before Jialan can catch his breath, the water dragon returns with a glowing object on its head. So much for the trial being over. A massive water dragon rises from the waves, and Shen Ye realizes this trial is nowhere near as finished as he hoped. The wind statue absorbs the lunar lineage and transforms into a real dragon. That is one extremely aggressive graduation ceremony. The dragon declares that Shen Ye has passed, then begins his personal initiation ritual. Before Shen Ye can celebrate, a dark-haired goddess appears and calmly says she will not fight him here because he already won their bet. She drops the real bombshell. Shen Ye's world is about to be destroyed and she claims only she can save him. Shen Ye is battered but furious. He rejects her offer, calls out her lies, and demands another bet instead. Apparently, surviving divine mind games has not improved our boy's ability to walk away. The goddess accepts. In 7 days, her followers called the Skinners will come for Shen Ye, and the fight will decide who owns the list. If he wins, he gets it. If he loses, his soul is the price. With the goddess gone, Shen Ye turns back to the lunar lineage and asks what this ritual actually means. The dragon tells him he is now responsible for entering the vast sky gate. Shen Ye is told to get ready because the real journey starts now. As the final minute runs out, the other examinees notice Shen Ye still missing. For a guy this strong, that is immediately suspicious. The exam officially ends, and the academy congratulates everyone who made it into the 3 major high schools. While the crowd celebrates, the purple-haired official freezes. Shen Ye has not come out, and the mood flips fast. One smug classmate claims Shen Ye failed the last stage, but the official suspects the exam was designed to embarrass her instead. Then a black-haired instructor steps in with a warning. He saw Shen Ye inside the testing grounds, and something went seriously wrong. His report shocks the room. Shen Ye was targeted by a calamity, a threat so dangerous that even professionals rarely survive it. Instead of relief, the accusation gets worse. Someone suggests Shen Ye did not escape the calamity, he joined it. That is a wild leap, even by academy standards. A hostile woman moves first and attacks, treating the rumor like proof before anyone can stop her. But Shen Ye suddenly emerges exhausted, bruised, and very much alive. Our boy only wants to know if he really finished the exam. The relief lasts 1 second. The officials say he left the testing grounds without permission, then place Shen Ye under arrest for suspected ties to the calamity. Shen Ye is trapped inside a suspicious magic barrier, bruised but furious as officials blame him for the calamity. They demand that Cloudspire Port be evacuated because hidden bombs could wipe out the whole island. The threat is real enough to rattle everyone. Shen Ye knows the explosions are already spreading and nobody is listening to him. Qian Roshan steps in with that cold, no-nonsense stare and orders Shen Ye's magical technique released for inspection. The second the seal breaks, green power erupts around Shen Ye. His cursed Wicked Ghost King technique has been completely transformed. He flashes a smug little grin. Fair enough, he just got accused of doomsday 5 minutes ago. That new power coils into a massive green dragon, leaving the witnesses staring like their brains just hit a loading screen. The verdict flips instantly. Shen Ye has passed the vast Skygate trial and is recognized as its true inheritor. He is granted permission to enter the ancient gate and become a disciple. A blue spot sequence confirms the news, but Shen Ye looks more stunned than triumphant as his new privileges stay classified. The mood turns upside down. Jialan Academy welcomes Shen Ye, offers to cover his training, and explains the vast Skygate can open a path to major schools. From suspected disaster to scholarship prospect, that is one aggressive change of management. Then the celebration gets crushed by fresh alarms. Explosions hit Cloudspire Port, and the calamity is already descended. At Cloudspire Port, a little girl approaches the towering goddess of springs with one innocent flower. The statue has protected this city for centuries, so everyone treats it like a miracle carved in stone. The child calls the dark-haired woman beautiful and offers her the flower with a completely trusting smile. A normal person would say thanks. This woman has clearly skipped the normal person tutorial. The woman accepts it, but her cold stare reveals the problem. She thinks divine beings exist to be worshipped, not adored. The white-haired man watches silently as she insists that raising a divine being is her duty. Then her beauty twists into something terrifying. Instead of gratitude, she gives the child a curse. She promises a lifetime of pain, betrayal, illness, and torment before the girl can ever find peace. The child's fear hits all at once as the fountain and sky drown in blood-red light. Terrified, the girl runs away while the goddess calmly claims she will own her soul in the end. Her goddess is not done. She points to 300,000 souls floating around the island, calling them a feast. The white-haired man hears a command and answers immediately. Whatever is coming, he is ready to obey. Right on cue, the peaceful scene explodes into fire and shattered stone. The real disaster has begun. Cloudspire Port is hit by a Class A calamity, and the whole city starts coming apart at the seams. At the center of the wreckage, a black-haired woman calmly pulls wandering souls into herself like she has been starving for centuries. The city is exploding, and she treats it like an all-you-can-eat buffet. The defenders surround her and swear they will seal her away, but she barely reacts to the threat. She smiles at their anger and admits the souls are only enough to satisfy her hunger for now. Then crimson threads burst across the battlefield, trapping the attackers in a nightmare red web before they can close in. The surviving fighters switch to long-range attacks, launching blades, flames, and spells from every direction. Their combined barrage crashes down in a huge blast, and for 1 second it looks like they may have actually stopped her. But she rises through the smoke and condemns humanity for endlessly chasing its desires, promising salvation only by becoming part of her. Her red eyes gleam as she finally names herself the Goddess of Spring. The web tightens around the defenders, leaving them helpless as her power swallows the battlefield. When the chaos settles, the fighters are left broken in the ruins, while the goddess remains completely in control. In the ruined underground chamber, Shen Ye calmly gathers the wandering souls and orders the Great Lady to leave. Then our boy unveils the shadow of the weeping soul illusion, because apparently regular goodbyes are not dramatic enough. The technique twists the whole space into a crushing illusion, with chunks of the underground world breaking apart around them. The rescued spirit looks overwhelmed with gratitude and promises she will win the bet and never disappoint him. Back above ground, news hits hard. Cloudspire Port has exploded, a rank of calamity is coming, and the students must evacuate. Shen Ye is furious that people were sent into danger, but he knows this disaster is bigger than one angry speech. With the island students scattered, rival schools immediately swarm in with offers, resources, and promises of ancient inheritance. Nothing says educational opportunity like recruiters arriving while the building is still metaphorically on fire. Shen Ye makes his choice, joining Tianrong so he can stay with his brother Ye while continuing to grow stronger. As the students split up, the Hall of Honor turns silent, and the old academy's future suddenly feels uncertain. Xiao Menjiu picks Turkan, while another student snips at Jialan as if the strongest academy has become a terrible life choice. Nangon Siduri chooses Jialan instead, drawn by the ancient sex inheritance hidden beneath its battered reputation. Nangong and the Nadir Academy crew have ditched Jilin for Terran, the school everyone calls the strongest. The welcome is warm, but the local students are already acting like the rankings are a personal insult. Before anyone can settle in, a huge curse crashes into the school and marks hundreds of thousands of people. It is called the Weeping Soul Phantom Shadow, and its victims get hunted by their own shadow for a day. The white-robed instructor orders an evacuation through a magical water route as the curse spreads through the hall. But Nangong gets the ridiculous jackpot. The Hell Lady's curse cannot touch him, and he gains immunity. A glowing scroll unfurls into a massive painting, offering everyone a way out through its strange world. Yes, the emergency exit is a painting. Terran Academy clearly hates normal doors. The students spill into a dusty painted landscape, but the escape route is already turning into another battlefield. They are warned to hurry because the horses inside this picture are preparing to leave. Xiao Yu steps forward with her weapon raised, her face hardening as a black vortex tears through the painted sky. The danger is not chasing the group anymore. It has come directly for her. A fiery duplicate appears, and Xiao Yu realizes the curse has copied her with exactly the same strength. Now she has to fight an equal version of herself while everyone else watches in disbelief. Purple-haired swordswoman realizes the curse copy has pushed her strength to its peak, but her exhausted stare says she knows she cannot keep this up. She braces anyway because backing down is clearly not in her job description. The copy catches her off guard and snatches at her face, leaving her shocked and calling for help. Blue-haired Zhang Xiaoyi crashes in to protect her, but the battlefield is getting worse as more copies appear. Elsewhere, another examiner bails out. Fighting her would only drag the other examinees deeper into this mess. The swordswoman unleashes a brutal flurry, hammering her opponent into the ground with no room to breathe. Zhang Xiaoyi gets jumped by his own red scarf double, and the clone is having far too much fun with it. The real Zhang Xiaoyi fires Thunderclap, blasting the copy back with violet lightning and finally creating an opening. Nothing settles an identity dispute like lightning to the face. The swordswoman admits the curse did not affect her the same way, so their mismatched abilities may be exactly what they need. Zhang Xiaoyi recognizes the answer. His lightning conqueror's evil lightning burst counters his curse copy and can multiply its power. With their plan set, the pair rushes off to help the others, before the copy outbreak swallows the whole exam. The purple-haired examiner unleashes a crackling technique, and even the exhausted group can only stare in amazement. She immediately pushes them onward to save as many people as possible. No victory lap today. The examiner realizes Shen Ye's strength is depleted after all the fighting, so he cannot keep going much longer. Shen Ye says he used his arcane eye to identify the real enemy, but the examiner orders him not to come closer. She admits the trial has drained a huge amount of her energy too, leaving her unable to fight at full strength. Still, she heads out to help while the others recover. They learn this painted world is a miniature arcane realm created by the examiner herself. That also means she cannot directly settle the crisis inside it. The danger turns brutal fast. If the examiner fails, the entire painted realm could vanish with everyone trapped inside. Then Nangong Siwi spots the real target among the duplicates, and the fight finally has a direction. The copy fires an ink explosion circular formation, turning the battlefield into a spinning death trap. Nangong Sirui refuses to let the examiner take the hit alone and charges in with his 1,000 ink snake into winding formation. The enemy mocks his attempt to protect his teacher, but Ningong Siri answers with an ink sword circular formation of his own. Nangong is still trapped by the ink snake, and Shen Yu admits their chances are collapsing fast. He refuses to stand around and wait for death, so our boy goes looking for a solution. Before he can move, a huge black horse rises from the dust like the chapter just switched genres. The glowing-eyed beast speaks and calls Shen Ye a disciple of the vast Skygate. It is the flying snow horse, a divine mount that can cross the arcane realm. Menju explains that arcane realms are like countless bubbles floating in an endless ocean of energy. The horse can travel between those worlds, and it may have other abilities too. The horse offers Shen Ye 2 ways to borrow its power: limited strength or a temporary full fusion. Shen Ye asks for its name, and the horse tells him to chant their names together from the heart. He immediately picks fusion. Of course he does. The first transformation works the most technically correct and deeply embarrassing way possible. Shen Ye gets a horse head. Everyone freezes in disbelief as even space and time seem warped by this cursed-looking result. Shen Yu does not quit. He calls for another try. This time, blue lightning erupts around him as the flying snow horse's real power finally enters. Shen Ye emerges in a sleek, lightning-charged form and tells the others to stay put while he heads back fast. The new flying mount blasts into the sky, leaving the group stunned by Shen Ye's sudden upgrade. The black-haired fighter opens with an ink sword circular formation, dropping a brutal wave of black ink straight onto his target. The giant ink sword keeps driving down, and he pours everything into the attack. Apparently, subtlety was not invited. But the victim is wrapped in a glowing ancient divine shield, and the killing blow suddenly looks far less certain. The shield fails at the worst moment. The white-robed defender is slashed through the chest, but she refuses to back away. Bleeding and shaken, she tells Nangon Siru to leave the rest to her. Her face says she knows this may be her last stand. The ink sword descends again, and the attacker believes his enemy has run out of time. Then blue lightning tears into the battlefield. A horned, thunder-wreathed stranger lands between them, cool as if this is a normal entrance. The newcomer is Shen Ye of Xuzhou, and he immediately races to help as the weakened divine shield lets the trapped fighter break free. Shen Ye launches an explosion circular formation, turning the rescue into a full-on lightning assault. He summons great heavenly thunder, blasting the black ink apart with a strike powerful enough to erase the attacker copies. The survivors stare at the aftermath in disbelief. Shen Ye has just summoned power from another arcane realm. The injured defender can barely process what she saw. Between tears, she decides this impossible rescue has to be a dream. Shen Yi's centaur fusion ends in a storm of lightning, leaving everyone stunned that he could unleash power like that. The divine-looking horse form collapses back into Shen Ye. He is exhausted, but the crowd cannot believe this ordinary guy pulled it off. Shen Ye admits he is running on fumes, so Nangong gives him the family's precious recovery medicine before they head for Turkan. Nangong says Shen Ye has saved her twice, and she plans to repay that debt by settling who was truly strongest at school. A flash of light brings news from outside. The calamity at Cloud Peak Port has supposedly been wiped out. The report says an A-rank threat was destroyed and thousands survived. It sounds like a clean win, almost suspiciously clean. Shen Ye looks at the curse mark still burning on his hand and immediately calls the announcement fake. The danger is not gone. Right on cue, the sea erupts in fire and shattered rock, proving the calamity has one nasty surprise left. Blue energy tears through the wreckage as trapped victims scream, and the chapter ends with the disaster roaring back to life. Shen and the others finally arrive, but the warm welcome lasts about 3 seconds before everyone is ordered off the horses. Before leaving, the mysterious host pours leftover power from another arcane realm straight into Shen. Casual goodbye gift, totally normal. The power crackles around him, and Shen is told they will meet again at a higher level. Instead of Terran, the group lands in Turkan, the wealthy jade capital and home of the world government's greatest museum. Inside its hidden halls, 2 blindfolded Song family mates approach Shen with a message meant for only a select few. The message comes from the eldest Miss, Song Dingyun. She will leave seclusion soon and wants to explain everything herself. Shen refuses to let the mystery slide. He says he will wait for her explanation, while his companion warns that Qingyun is dangerously unreadable. Then the academy changes plans on the spot. A Cloudspire incident and an unknown curse force the students into immediate group training. Their new guide, Yang Qingchen, makes it clear that Turkan is now home, and nobody gets to ease into this place gently. With the underground cemetery's brutal environment and the school dome rising around them, Shen's real training is about to begin. Eunice and the other recruits gear up as an academy officer leads them toward an unstable space anomaly. Apparently, orientation here starts with dimensional travel. The paperwork must be brutal. The officer explains that this controlled pocket world is a training ground, with food and basic lessons ready for the exhausted newcomers. After a short rest, they will be tested and assigned jobs. So much for easing into campus life. A loud general sizes up the recruits and immediately decides they are too weak to count as human beings. Our boy looks nervous, especially after spotting a fully armored dog in the lineup. The general orders everyone to run 10 laps around the training ground before tomorrow's job selection. He calls this a potential test. His idea of potential is clearly cardio-induced despair. The recruits scramble into motion, while the strange dog races alongside them like this is the best day of its life. Then the general stops Eunice cold. He is not calling out the whole group, only him. Instead of making him run, the general tells Eunice to head for the barracks and rest. That special treatment sounds nice, but Eunice can tell it comes with a very suspicious price. The commander sends Shen Ye to clean up and rest, but warns him that nobody else is allowed into this room. Our boy is clearly confused. A private hot spring is not what he expected from military training. Shen Ye pulls out his identity jade, and the commander instantly recognizes him as a disciple of the vast Skygate. That little green rock just made his paperwork dramatically more interesting. The commander lays out the career choices: Demon Slayer, Wind Tracker, Exorcist, and Night Ranger, each built for a different kind of nightmare. Shen Ye asks for every option, but he is warned that stacking professions has ruined plenty of ambitious people before him. He can choose only 2, and the exclusive training for both will be brutal. The commander makes the stakes clear. Skip the exclusive lessons, and Shen Ye gets dropped into the lowest starting profession. Shen Ye picks Demon Slayer and Night Ranger anyway, betting his future on the hard route. With the decision made, Shen Ye finally heads for the spring to recover. He looks completely wiped out. While the other recruits run laps, Shen Ye enjoys the hot water like he's discovered civilization's greatest invention. Then someone knocks and announces a takeout order. Shen Ye bolts upright, because takeout should not be delivering inside an anomaly. Shen Ye is relaxing when a takeout order somehow arrives inside the anomaly. Even supernatural survival zones have delivery service now. Inside the box, our boy finds a strange egg-like device. It is the human martial arts group's latest project, and it wants to incubate. The device projects a combat clone built to match Shen Ye's body, attributes, blood flow, and every other unfairly specific detail. The test ends with Shen Ye on the preliminary list, but 2 girls already shine at 6 stars. That gap immediately gets under his skin. One name, Yunni, catches his eye. Shen Ye is impressed for about 2 seconds before ambition starts doing the talking. He tries to absorb the lightning power he once received, but his resonance is too low. The clone's verdict is brutally simple: add more attributes. Shen Ye forces every attribute into resonance, and his body lights up as the inherited lunar lightning finally answers him. Thunder crashes through the courtyard as he absorbs power from the arcane realm. His thunderclap reaches its first realm level in one wild burst. The payoff is huge. Shen Ye rises to 6 stars and becomes a true disciple of Vast Skygate. One delivery just rewrote his ceiling. Shen Ye finishes his brutal Sky Shadow upgrade and proudly jumps straight to the 5th realm. He is feeling invincible for about 5 seconds. That timing never survives a manhwa. The steam clears and Barge catches Shen Ye with absolutely none of his dignity equipped. Our stunned face says the training session has developed a serious wardrobe problem. Before he can get dressed, Shen Ye bolts through the hall while armored guards stare in total disbelief. A black-haired woman blocks his escape and casually praises his record-breaking admission to Shirang High School. Shen Ye can only panic as she grabs him before his clothes do. His parents celebrate the news like he conquered the world, even preparing a bronze statue and fireworks. Shen Ye begs them to skip the incense and offerings, but the family celebration is already blazing out of control. Then Shen Ye notices a missing line on his hand and his smile disappears fast. With his access upgraded, Shen Ye decides to investigate the Archaeological Association incident that was locked behind his clearance. The classified trail leads somewhere grim, where a bloodied white-haired man sits bound in the dark and waits for whoever comes next. In a pitch-black chamber, a bound white-haired man faces the smug brute who still savors memories of murdering his wife and daughter. This guy's somehow making villainy look like a full-time hobby. The prisoner finally snaps. Bloodied and shaking with rage, he decides this monster will not walk away from the chair. But the brute only laughs, thanking him for the pain before a sudden attack tears into his chest. The white-haired captive rises with glowing red eyes and a terrifying hunger. The tables have flipped hard. Guards rush in, but he carves through the room as the killer desperately begs his master for help. Watching through the gate, Kumyun learns the truth. Grief drove the man to summon a lord of the weeping demon realm. A chain skull pendant appears, an ancient relic from a war of gods that should not even exist in Kunyun's world. The gate explains that matching thunder palms and nightmare deities point to one ugly answer. Someone let another realm leak into human history. Then the abnormal system reopens. Kunyun sees the gate return, but the growing mystery gives him no relief. Overwhelmed by what he has seen, our boy calls it a night. Even cosmic conspiracies can wait until morning. Elsewhere in the Moonlit household, servants summon the second lady to the study, setting up the next problem. A wounded young woman arrives at the family hall, already looking like this meeting will be anything but welcoming. She cannot stop coughing, but her father and sister waste no time getting straight to the scandal around Yinjin. Nothing says family reunion like an interrogation before the tea gets cold. Her sister explains that careless public jokes have dragged the powerful Song family into a very public mess. A ginseng root was sent for her health, but someone twisted the gesture into a rumor against her. Her sister sees an opening in the disaster, insisting that even a bad situation can be turned to their advantage. The solution is brutal and simple. Make a public apology, smooth things over with the Song family, and protect the household's reputation. But when the injured woman quietly asks what happens to her, the room goes cold. Her father offers no comfort. To him, she's just a useless burden who cannot handle what the family expects. Her sister softens the blow with a gentle smile, telling her little sister that this has all been hard on her. The kindness feels real enough, but the pressure behind it never leaves. Then her sister brings up Shen Ye, the childhood friend who once saved them when they were little. The young woman searches her memory and comes up empty. Shen Ye means nothing to her now. Her father calls the connection one of the few chances she can still use and orders her to cooperate with her sister. A frail younger sister is welcomed back with a smile, while her powerful older sister calmly declares the divine spectrum almost complete. The elder sister's awakening makes the Song clan celebrate, but the younger girl can only watch from the edge of that blazing power. Her own test result is painfully weak, and the family pressure lands on both sisters anyway. She has been bedridden for a year, branded a useless burden, while her sister carries the clan's impossible expectations. Her sister promises protection and says she will make their family strong again. The younger girl answers with the same desperate resolve. But behind that promise, the younger sister realizes she has fallen into an abyss of fear, resentment, and staring red eyes. She finally confronts her sister, convinced that this illness is no accident and that someone is deliberately keeping her helpless. Believing her death is the only path to rebirth, she steps into the night with a heartbreakingly final decision. Min water and light swallow her whole. She emerges changed, with one goal left: see Shen Ye one last time. The next day, the school erupts into trouble as students cling to a tomb ceiling pillar that is supposed to suppress their curse. Some students can move freely because they can suppress their own curses, while Shen Ye gets accused of choosing a very dangerous school. As the confusion spreads, a fierce purple-haired girl grabs a boy and pulls him away, saying she has something important to reveal. Shen Ye learns the Yanchen pork reports were fake. The ship force was wiped out at sea, and only a few survivors made it back. The purple-haired woman sees the pattern immediately. Someone is playing a much bigger game, and Shen Ye is tangled up in it. The missing old master may be tied to it too. He supposedly killed a chief retainer with power near the second realm, then vanished without a trace. Shen Ye decides to follow that lead and hunt down the mastermind. First, though, visitors are waiting at his quarters. Inside, Shen Ye finds a brown-haired young woman calmly having tea. She is far less surprised to see him than he is to see her. She hands him a shining green gem, saying it can break the curse. It is a risky gift from someone who clearly has nowhere else to turn. The girl admits the curse will eventually kill her mistress. Even with hope in her hands, she asks Shen Ye to pass along a request to let her rest in peace. Shen Ye shuts that talk down. Her mistress saved his life twice, so he promises to find a cure and make sure she survives. That promise finally reaches her. Clutching the gem, she decides to trust him and offers one more secret, this time about Song Qingyun. The blue-haired guard hears a vicious rumor. The Song family's second daughter wants the blame for their eldest sister pinned on her. The accusation is not petty gossip either. It is built around an old massacre and a reputation meant to stay ruined. He realizes the younger sister did not just resent her sibling. She arranged the whole trap with cold, deliberate patience. Her cruelty went further, poisoning her sister's body, isolating her from everyone, and trying to erase the one person she treasured. The evidence is a greeting card from Shen Ye, saved from the day he protected her from a huge dog and got hurt doing it. That treasured memory makes the sister's motive painfully clear. She wanted every possible connection cut away. When asked about the plan, the guard drops the polite act. He wants a way to kill Song Qingyun. He knows brute force will fail after her breakthrough, so he starts weighing assassination, poison, curses, and sabotage. Casual afternoon planning, apparently. The mysterious woman tells him to attend the welcome party. There, he may finally learn which sister is which and stop being manipulated. Song Qingyun has awakened an ancient talent. When she is happy, 7 colored phantom feathers appear around her, an unmistakable sign of power. The guard advises the younger sister to become a professional fast. More resources, more authority, and more strength are her only real defense. The younger sister leaves with one final warning. Keep this secret, especially from the other young lady. The guard is clearly entertained by her nerve. High above the city, a giant koi tears through the sky while someone taunts its rider for surviving the sister's curse. The rose-eyed woman clings on as the cursed koi races ahead, wondering how they are supposed to break this deadlock. She is shaken but alive, and she quietly bets that his help might be enough. That is a very expensive maybe. The scene shifts to a training ground, where a loud mining instructor starts laying out the rules for getting a job underground. He demonstrates mineral exploration by calling down blue energy and smashing the ground hard enough to make every trainee stare. Mining is presented as the most basic underground profession, but even basic work needs a special skill before anyone gets approved. The instructor explains that mineral exploration draws on the Fa realm to locate hidden deposits, and the ground answers with crystal veins. Then comes the real lesson. When Fa realm recognition reaches a certain level, a professional can materialize a name. A blue-haired trainee asks what a name even does, and the instructor is thrilled that somebody finally asked the useful question. The instructor unleashes his name, and an entry appears above him as the mining technique suddenly hits with far more force. Blue energy rips through the earth, blasting out huge crystals and proving this is not just a fancy label. With a smug grin, the instructor reveals the payoff. At Siron High, earning a name is easier than it is for ordinary professionals. The class learns that mastering a first skill opens the Fa realm, where a stellar Dharma form starts taking shape. Apparently enlightenment comes with glowing space armor, very normal school curriculum. To reach the second level, a disciple must perfect that first skill and create a second profession skill. The lesson makes one thing clear: power here is earned step by brutal step. The blue-haired disciple is stunned when he and another student are revealed to have Dharma eyes. a seriously rare talent. Their instructor explains the fourth Thaw realm can summon spiritual beings, creatures far more tuned to this power than humans. Then the blue-haired disciple gets sent toward a night roamer profession trial, a legacy left by the hunting sect. He walks straight into the sealed trial grounds, while the instructor can only wish the genius luck. Inside, he finds the hunting sect's artifact, an ancient bow waiting alone at the center of the arena. The moment he reaches for it, the trial erupts into a blood-red sky filled with burning eclipses. A strange vision takes over, and the relic judges whether he is a true disciple of the Huntian legacy. A mysterious warrior appears and reveals that this technique can expose the path. Their paths were meant to cross, but he is told their reunion will have to wait. A long-haired archer shows the blue-haired warrior a nightmare sky full of crimson stars, and tells him their world is already dead. Those stars are not stars at all. They are invaders, cosmic gluttons hunting for worlds to devour. The archer fires moonlit shots into the void, because apparently regular arrows were not dramatic enough. Her shots explode across the sky and wipe out 9 suns in one strike, leaving the warrior completely stunned. She reveals the power came from the gods of the moon, but the victory changes nothing. Countless outsiders are still pouring in. As the dying world releases its final energy, it becomes a barrier that traps the outsiders in chaos. Before she fades, the archer decides to pass her strongest technique into the future. She calls it the flying shot, the core skill of a night roamer, and presses the knowledge into his mind. He has 3 days to master both flying shot and frosty moon shakes the heavens, or the chance is gone. The vision ends in a blinding flash, and our boy is thrown back into reality with ancient power crashing through him. He wakes among shattered weapons, coughing and shaken. Those things were from ancient times, and now their insight is tearing through him. A blazing mark forms above his head, as his brain feels ready to explode. The inheritance is not arriving gently. He drops to his knees, clutches his head, and refuses to die here. The Night Roamer's trial has only just begun. Shen Ye drops to his knees as the inheritance tears through his mind, while the little skeleton pressures him to endure it. Bloodied and sweating, Shen Ye learns a powerful heaven technique, but the knowledge is hitting him like a truck. At least he can finally think again. That is a pretty low bar for a successful lesson. The skeleton starts transferring spiritual energy into Shen Ye, linking their fate so he can survive the overload. The new spirit link can redirect part of any spiritual attack into energy for its bonded partner, and Shen Ye accepts immediately. The link works, but now the skeleton is burning up and literally coming apart at the seams. Shen Ye tosses his overheating partner into water, and the skeleton suddenly catches the smell of pork rib soup. With his endurance upgraded, Shen Ye realizes the flying shot inheritance is nearly complete. He has 3 days to master it before facing the Night Roamer, so the pressure is very much still on. Meanwhile, the skeleton decides the magical soup smells too good to ignore and starts drinking its own essence. The soup triggers a wild conversion, pulling the skeleton into a swirling transformation. It returns with a fully restored giant skull but a hilariously tiny body, then blames Shen Ye for the losses in conversion. Shen Ye learns his arrow position can only be used after he gets airborne. Great power, one very inconvenient missing feature. The skull explains that Shen Ye did not really fly before. He was just hopping across floating rocks during a hailstorm. Its own body hovers through opposing magnetic fields, while humans can apparently learn proper flight spells. Shen Ye decides to investigate that route, but a strange friend request from Yung Mi suddenly interrupts him. At the ruined passage, Shen Ye realizes the exit is still sealed. He cannot simply walk away from this mess. Then the mysterious voice returns. It says Shen Ye has gathered the frost moon shattering heaven pieces and can condense the star law phase. If he succeeds, the technique will lead him to the first level of the Dharma realm. The voice offers help only if Shen Ye uncovers this world's secrets. It has used up its strength and is slipping into eternal sleep. Shen Ye demands answers, but the voice vanishes before explaining what those secrets actually are. Naturally, the ghost leaves homeward. With no answer coming, Shen Ye heads back to the military camp to find the priest. Back at camp, the soldiers swarm Shen Ye like he is a celebrity. His survival and victory over the undead have made him famous. The priest greets him with a holy massage technique, and Shen Ye is instantly relieved when his headache disappears. The priest says the royal prince has returned victorious and wants Shen Ye at the camp immediately. Shen Ye is already moving. Shen Ye admits her mask curse barely worked. Every clone she sent into this world was wiped out. After watching it for millions of years, she decides this planet is hiding something far bigger than it should. She follows that suspicion into the Grand Hall, convinced the planet is packed with secrets. Then the portrait starts cracking open, and the face behind it finally notices Shen Ye. Nothing says welcome to the mansion like a haunted painting waking up. The trapped creature is impressed. Shen Ye entered in person, and calmly asks what she wants from it. It explains the brutal truth. This planet is already dead, sealed away as a one-way prison. Breaking that prison seal is impossible alone, so wants Shen Ye and the humans working together. The creature makes its pitch. Help corrupt the seal, and they can sail away together when it breaks. Refuse, and Shen Ye stays an outsider while it uses every trick it has to take the human world. Shen Ye leaves the offer hanging, only to spot Yun Mi waiting in the corridor. Yun Mi cheerfully talks up her senior sisters and promises Shen Ye will like them. Shen Ye looks politely skeptical. That is usually how trouble gets introduced. Elsewhere in the nightmare world, our ruler learns that Pei Qi has finally returned. Pei Qi bursts in begging for help, claiming he has caught a disease called the royal family's flying technique. Apparently, even a dramatic rescue can come with a ridiculous diagnosis. Fei Lin tries the oldest excuse in the book, claiming a deadly disease just to escape his royal lesson. The blonde prince sees right through him, but Fei Lin still begs to learn the family's secret flying technique. The prince tells him flying takes years, and sends Fei Lin to the Imperial Military Academy for proper training. Our boy refuses to let it go. He wants that technique badly enough to negotiate with royalty. The prince finally offers a deal. Finish one top-secret mission, and Fei Lin gets the flying technique. The mission is no academy errand. The undead have abandoned their old gods and are building a new faith. Fei Lin must investigate their territory, but even getting near these high-ranking undead could be a nightmare. Before he can even leave, a giant undead skull crashes into the room and assassins swarm the prince. Fei Lin instantly steps in front of the prince, calling the skull Saint Piki and claiming it is his undead informant. Then comes the wild reveal. Fei Lin is supposedly descended from an ancient undead noble family. He wants to use that connection to sponsor his return to undead high society. Casual family networking, apparently. The disguised undead panic at the prince's presence, realizing they might be killed on the spot. The prince calls their bluff. If Piki is really an informant, he will answer every question truthfully. When the prince warns that lies mean treason, he reveals Pichi was once a disgraced undead noble who should have been executed. The undead emperor presses Piki for answers, and the blue-haired rookie is one bad reply away from becoming somebody's lunch. Fei Lun calmly identifies the empire's top families, including the Pale Shadow, Soul Casting, Holy Bone, and Dark Rose clans. The skull is genuinely impressed. Apparently, basic homework is a superpower down here. He also explains the prized undead carriage. 4 bone horses, souls bound to their skeletons, and key figures chosen from the dead. With the questions answered, Fei Lun rewards Piki with a storage ring holding a captured undead carriage worth around 40 million bone coins. Piki nearly chokes at the price. Even undead real estate has gotten ridiculous. Fei Lun unveils a magic cloak that hides his undead identity, disguises him as a vampire, and even changes his outfit's appearance. Piki asks to learn Fei Lun's flying technique, and Fei Lun agrees after giving him a mission: infiltrate the undead empire and investigate humanity's unexplained defeat. Fei Lun activates a costly secret teleportation array, sending Pichi straight into the undead imperial capital, Eternal Night City. The arrival goes badly fast. The guards have already set a trap, and Pichi realizes they are about to die before the mission even starts. Shadowy undead beasts close in from the dark, leaving Fei Lun's new agent with nowhere obvious to run. 2 towering skeletal guards block the passage, and the skull-faced guide looks seriously rattled by whoever is coming. The blonde vampire refuses to run. He tells the guards to open the way because he belongs to the bloodline they serve. That claim flips the whole mood. The armored giants recognize their returned lord and welcome him home. A family reunion with nightmare skeletons because apparently normal greetings were unavailable. The guards report that the city is in dire shape and its ancient protectors have abandoned it. The vampire lord is done listening. Before leaving, he hands his skull-headed companion a treasured hat to hide his face. Even monsters need a low-profile day. With the city growing more dangerous, the pair rush for the Street of Lost Souls and prepare to take the fastest route. Purple power wraps around them, and the vampire lord launches into the air with his companion in tow. The skull god calls the turns from above while the pair flies straight toward the danger. But inside the ruined city, a shadowy figure rises among the towers. Something has already noticed their arrival. The figure catches the scent of the ancients, turning this rescue run into a much bigger problem. A black-cloaked intruder heads straight for the Holy Soul Bank's VIP section, carrying a very specific key. The wolf-like VIP representative calmly leads the stranger to an ultimate key and a private vault. The bank gives him 3 minutes alone. That is either excellent service or spectacularly bad judgment. The representative promises airtight security, but the red rune on the key is clearly the real exit plan. The key releases glowing parchments, and the intruder realizes the undead capital's security will notice even the smallest disturbance. After checking the key, he confirms it works and pushes through the pain to finish the job. The parchments float into place around him, turning the private room into a teleportation ritual. In a flash of gold, the intruder vanishes before the 3-minute window can close. But the teleport leaves behind a dead aura, and a terrifying purple shadow beast erupts inside the vault. The bank's guard finds the room wrecked, realizing the escape succeeded a moment too late. The wounded representative tries to report the breach, but the shadow creature is already tearing into him. He can only describe a slender figure in a black cloak, red lining, and wide-brimmed hat before the attack overwhelms him. The order goes out to summon the Shadow Legion and search the entire city for that distinctive intruder. Then the real alarm hits. The bloodline of the ancients has returned. Inside the dark castle, a cloaked stranger bolts awake as a blazing figure warns him to hide fast. He has entered the wrong place, at the wrong time, which is basically a death wish with extra steps. The intruder does not wait around. He slips through a glowing door while the castle erupts behind him. A skull-faced entity finally introduces itself as Fei Lun, the mother of dark skeletons and an underworld ruler. Apparently, the nightmare world now comes with a very talkative customer service department. The blonde stranger stays cool, but his narrowed red eyes show he knows this encounter could turn ugly fast. Fei Lun explains that her undead once worshipped a deity named Mikit Takaksiwa until a conspiracy destroyed that past. She reveals why she hides her bloodline. If the wrong people learn she is an inheritor, assassins will come. Her divine protection kept her alive, but it also made every unanswered question far more dangerous. Elsewhere at midnight, our boy draws his bow and locks in, blue energy curling around him like a storm. He fires, and the trial answers back. He has mastered flying shot and taken on the night roamer profession. That breakthrough opens his Dharma image, the lunar palace, and starts gathering celestial aura to sharpen his gaze. The upgrade is official. His new profession is secure, and this midnight trial has paid off big. Shen Ye has officially picked up the Night Roamer class, and our boy immediately draws a glowing bow like he has been waiting all day for this. Using the Dharma realm as a target marker, he channels the skill into one clean shot. No warm-up, no safety briefing, just maximum drama. The arrow erupts into a storm of blue light, unleashing the class move called Demon Chasing Frostline. In an instant, icy energy tears across the entire Dharma realm and slams into the target. Shen Ye has found a skill build to end fights fast. Then the price hits. The attack drains all his energy, and he cannot even keep his flying spell going. Shen Ye drops from the sky, barely avoiding a disaster only because his mid-air door-opening technique catches him in time. He lands alive, but the cold is brutal. His arms are useless, his face turns purple, and even his teasing companion knows this is serious. The snow keeps coming down hard, and Shen Ye is now in real danger of freezing to death from the backlash of his own class skill. Right when he needs help most, Xiao Menju rushes in through the storm. Shen Yu recognizes her and knows he is finally safe. Xiao Menju scoops him up with a calm smile while Shen Yu finally gives in to the cold and passes out in her arms. Shen Ye is still shaken after his energy suddenly drains dry. Qin Yun warns him that without her help he would have been finished. Then Qin Yun unleashes the 7-star sword palace. The sword has accepted Shen Ye, giving our boy a real path into swordsmanship. She can even show him every technique from the flying swords. Casual mentor behavior, obviously. Qin Yun shifts to a bigger problem. The 6 great world guarding clans, each protected by a divine artifact. First-class families inherit terrifying powers and ancient treasures, while the 6 guardian clans stand above even them. Those 6 clans are the strongest forces in the world, and their artifacts are no ordinary family heirlooms. But the Song family's artifact fell dormant long ago. Qin Yun does not know why, only that her clan is still dangerously powerful. Shen Ye makes a bold wager. If he wins, Qin Yun gives him the list of families tied to the Skyne killing. He is planning to face the sleeping demon realm lord in 6 days, so he needs answers fast. Qingyan quietly decides that no matter what Song Qingyan is after, she will not let her succeed. Outside in the snow, Qingyan thanks Shen Ye for seeing through her worries. His strength has already surpassed hers. Before leaving, she hands him a rare medicine to restore his strength. Shen Ye drinks it and immediately feels the difference. Piki's ancient potion finally restores his stats, and our boy can feel power flooding back into every muscle. He is not just recovered, he is buzzing with enough strength to make the room regret doubting him. Before Piki can enjoy the upgrade, a glowing royal message orders him straight to the barracks. Nothing says congratulations like an immediate military summons. At the camp, armored guards reveal that the prince wants to see Piki at once. The royal official has heard Pichi is a heroic saint, then sees him and calls the real man a ridiculous monkey. The key's glare says he did not march into court for a comedy review. The official waves the whole violet scepter and says disrespecting the emperor is enough to get Piki executed. To avoid an instant disaster, Piki drops to his knees, furious but forced to play along. Then Piki fires back. The prince personally praised his fearless frontline service and invited him to a banquet. He reminds the court that he helped crush the undead army, so the saint title is not some random handout. The official refuses to budge, declaring Peiqi unworthy of even saying saint, let alone representing the empire. The argument turns physical when seized and branded an unreasonable country bumpkin. With the violet scepter raised, the official invokes Saint Violet and orders Piki's execution immediately. Before the court can even breathe, the armored knight moves to execute Shen Ye for insulting the emperor. Shen Ye is knocked down hard, while the prince reaches out in shock. This royal hearing just became a death match. Then Shen Ye's eyes crackle blue and thunder erupts around him. Apparently sentencing him was the court's first bad decision. The knight grabs him anyway and demands he accept execution, but Shen Ye calmly gathers more electricity in his hand. He fires thunder shock at point-blank range, blasting the knight away in a violent flash. As debris rains through the hall, Shen Ye tells the prince he chose the wrong person to test. The prince can only stare, stunned that Shen Ye has become this strong. Then Shen Ye vanishes, leaving the court in a panic. The officials reveal he is the king of shadow assassins, so even tracking him is a lost cause. Outside in the snow, Shen Ye admits the technique drained him badly, but he's still standing and his attributes remain intact. He checks the scrolls, menu left behind, hoping they finally explain what the goddess wanted him to find. Instead, a familiar aura of death hits him. Shen Ye realizes these scrolls are made from human skin. A faint green presence answers from the cursed bundle with one quiet word, yes. Inside the dark chamber, Mikate watches a skinless nightmare demon pull itself back together and laugh at his question. It treats resurrection like a victory lap, which is a bold choice when it is still dripping on the floor. The creature mocks Mikate by name and claims he cannot kill it, but our boy stays cold and demands to know who it is. Mikate decides the rant has gone on long enough. One sharp smack, and the nightmare demon is suddenly very interested in consequences. Dark fire tears through the demon as it realizes a human should not possess this kind of arcane power. Now humbled, the demon reveals it was once the demon of nightmare, killed by Mikate's ancestor and turned into a living skin. More importantly, it senses a seal on its body that can only be opened by Mikate's bloodline. A skull-shaped spirit pops out with the answer. It knows exactly how to break the seal, and it is way too pleased about it. Mikate's bloodline reacts at once. The seal recognizes him as the last descendant, and a violent burst of purple power fills the room. The spell finally breaks, revealing a towering white-haired woman wrapped in nightmare energy. The skull calls her mother. His newly freed mother gives Mikate two choices: inherit the power she left behind, or hunt the murderer who will expose the undead race's true enemy. Either way, Mikate has just gone from interrogating a blob to inheriting a nightmare-sized problem. A floating skull pushes Shen Ye to choose the second door, claiming it leads to the killer who took his mother. Shen Ye learns his mother had countless children, but she personally marked him as one worthy of a final trial. That answer is somehow less comforting than the haunted skull delivering it. The skull reveals a secret art from Shen Ye's undead mother, and it offers a path straight into deep hell. To inherit it, Shen Ye must turn the skull's head into a crown and become the true king of bones. The crystal is meant only for the undead, so Shen Ye cannot use it himself. The skull needs his help reaching hell instead. Shen Ye agrees without hesitation. The skull thanks him, finally believing it has a friend at its side. The magic restores the skull's body, and Shen Ye suddenly recognizes the old voice. This is Fern, a friend who once needed help. Back in his room, a biological clone from the human martial arts group arrives. A group arrives, fully grown and ready to serve its master. The clone has a synchronization device that can send data between worlds, even while Shen Ye is trapped in the arcane realm. Shen Ye ignores the clone's combat pitch and assigns it chores, cooking, laundry, cleaning, and massage. A terrifying weapon has become domestic support. With preparations underway, Shen Ye sends his new helper to Overnight City. In 4 hours, the real work begins. After finally falling asleep, Finn gets a message from the prince. The undead war is over, but something is wrong at the Eternal Night City. The prince has vanished near the border, so our boy has no choice but to go looking. His ghostly guide explains the undead are not all the same. There are pale shadows, soul-forged beings, and dark roses. Bureaucracy even follows you into death. The guide admits ghosts come from terrifying places, then points Finn toward a haunted town where the trail might begin. With 2 days of walking ahead, Finn launches himself through the night using his flying technique. For a moment, he's moving like a hero who definitely read the instruction manual. 10 minutes later, the technique drains every bit of mental energy he has and Finn drops hard. He refuses to stay down, downs a potion, and forces his attributes back to full. By nightfall, Finn reaches the haunted town and spots the rumored train glowing through the fog. The station is packed with undead passengers, and Finn realizes the stories were not exaggerating. He boards the first-class carriage, only to be stopped by a hulking undead guard demanding an identity check. Inside the train car, a hulking undead guard demands Shen Ye's identification, looking ready to turn a routine check into a brawl. Shen Ye spots the Baxter family dog tag and calls the brute a deserter. Bold choice when the guy is built like stitched-up furniture. The undead veteran fires back that he and his brothers held the front line until human magic cannons tore them apart. The veteran's anger gives way to grief as he remembers his brothers being blown to pieces while he alone survived. Realizing he judged him too fast, Shen Ye apologizes. The undead soldier immediately softens and offers him something important. The gift is an abomination eyeball, a veteran's guild credential. Every scar on this old soldier suddenly makes a lot more sense. Shen Ye learns the credential can get him into the Veterans Guild in Eternal Night City, and there's a whole stack of words behind that eye. Then the train announces its final destination, Eternal Night City. The catch is that this route passes through hell. The passengers are warned not to wander or open the windows. Shen Ye admits the train has no other way through. When asked how he recognizes an internal organ color chart on site, Shen Ye casually says he skimmed ancient elixirs. Sure, totally normal train reading. Fei Lun's train dives into the first layer of hell where even the scenery looks like it wants a refund. The conductor announces their arrival at Eternal Night City, while the rail car tears through the red abyss at full speed. A suspicious passenger asks why Fei Lun refuses to get off. Fei Lun calmly says Eternal Night City is not his destination. He claims he is headed for Tokyo, Rome, Paris, Miami, and Los Angeles. Ambitious itinerary for a train in hell. The train attendant praises his dream, then demands the remaining fare, 200 bone coins. Fei Lun's expression hardens. He already knew something was wrong and demands the truth before this scam gets him killed. The truth lands hard. Eternal Night City is only an illusion, designed to trick passengers into stepping off the train. They are still in hell, and the station has been bait all along. Then the train loops right back to Eternal Night City, proving the nightmare ride has not escaped hell at all. At the final stop, a hulking stitched enforcer orders Fei Lun off the train before the doors close for the day. The enforcer threatens him, but Fei Lun answers with a burst of purple power and refuses to let this detour delay dinner. One clean hit sends the brute flying. Fei Lun offers a casual apology, and the monster bizarrely thanks him. Baxter needs a way into Nightfall City fast, so he heads for the Veterans Guild to get registered and find work. The guild's recruiter is a hooded vampire named Lady Daisy, and she immediately sizes Baxter up with glowing eyes. This is already less like a job interview and more like a supernatural background check. Baxter admits he grew up poor and became the family's only hope after losing his brothers in the war. He says he will take any job if it gets him into the city, even one that needs an entrance badge. Daisy finds his desperation amusing, but warns him that the job can get serious fast. Then she promises to personally deal with anyone who turns into a freak. Comforting, sort of. When Baxter learns the recruiter is a vampire, he stays oddly calm. Daisy is impressed by the nerve. Her next instruction is to take off his clothes, and our boy suddenly realizes this is not normal guild paperwork. Daisy can see something extraordinary in Baxter, calling his potential 1 in a million. She gets far too close, probing his soul and sensing a depth she cannot explain. Baxter is clearly not built for this level of aggressive career counseling. Instead of rejecting him, Daisy decides Baxter deserves something more fitting than a basic job. Her mysterious offer is only getting started. Baxter is bored of university and wants a real job, so he walks straight into Madame Daisy's wildly suspicious singer audition. The horned hostess promises performers discounts, recognition, and even stronger combat skills. Naturally, he is interested. Daisy starts a delicate song, and Baxter listens with total focus as her voice fills the dark hall. Then Baxter refuses to copy her style. He grabs a guitar and answers with full-on rock energy. The quiet audition has officially become a concert nobody asked permission to start. His performance turns the room electric, and Daisy is stunned as Baxter belts out the song in his own voice. Even Daisy admits she has never heard anything like it. Baxter's strange talent has clearly hit the right note. Daisy gives him a rare singer's crystal, and it immediately responds to him with a burst of purple light. She declares that Baxter was born for art, which is a very dramatic way to hand someone career advice. With the crystal in hand, Baxter thanks Daisy for launching his singer career. She sends him toward a veterans guild and promises work will follow. The new evaluation is apparently a ducking. Baxter can only stare as his big career break gets even weirder. Inside the Dead Hotel, the evaluations are supposed to follow a clean ranking system. Then a completely bizarre pink singer option appears. The barman stares at it in disbelief. Gray, white, green, blue, purple, those are normal. Pink is practically the system showing off. He commits to singer, spending 20 spirit points for the strange choice. The reward is not just a job, it is a doorway to exclusive skills. The class unlocks a flood of memories. In a past life, he had been obsessed with finding the purest music possible. He even shaved around his ears and wore electrician boots to protect the sound. This man turned audio quality into a survival profession. Now he hears that beautiful sound again, and tears fill his eyes. For him, this is proof that he was always meant to become a singer. His artistic soul forms the singer's skill's spectacular opening, letting performances strengthen his other powers. The system even calls rock bands the ultimate missionaries. Then comes the real prize, star swapping. If he earns at least a blue evaluation during tomorrow's road crossing, he can claim this door ability. Before he can enjoy the breakthrough, security pounds on the room. They are convinced the sealed door means something suspicious is happening inside. Captain Kevin is hunting a suspicious vampire, and the blonde stranger is far too calm for a man being cornered. The vampire introduces himself as Baxter, flashing an ID taglet that settles everything. Baxter claims he's a veteran diva, which earns him exactly the kind of stunned silence that claim deserves. The guards are not buying it. They call Baxter an imposter and move to arrest him on the spot. Baxter stops playing nice. With perfect timing, he decides to test his brand new class skill. Lightning erupts around him as Baxter creates thunder clones. Apparently, diva training comes with a weather forecast now. His glorious opening lets those thunder copies strike together, massively expanding his range, power, and control. Kevin finally understands the problem. Baxter's pink class skill even boosts speed, so this diva is definitely not bluffing. Baxter lowers the thunder and makes one thing clear. Anyone watching a diva this closely probably wants something from him. Kevin immediately folds, promising silence and offering to do anything Baxter asks. The interrogation has become a surrender. Baxter is horrified when Kevin reveals their old grudge involves a broken pelvis. Some workplace drama really should stay buried. In the undead district, Baxter reports that his new singing job is already secured, and he wants Daisy's help arranging a performance. The hooded undead immediately sends him to the Dark Rose dance troupe. Baxter looks stunned, but this is his perfect excuse to look around. They slip into a grand theater, where an eerie stage rehearsal is already underway. Nothing suspicious about undead show business, obviously. Daisy spots Baxter and asks why an outsider is here. Her attendant calmly introduces him as the troupe's new singer. Baxter keeps it polite, saying he came to observe and learn. Daisy gives him a confident smile and tells him to watch closely. The hooded master starts the show by forming green flames, but the magic is not ordinary fire. It is a soul fire performance. Lady Daisy takes that power and empathizes with it completely. shaping the flames with graceful control. The whole theater watches the green blaze swell. Her dancers join in, feeding the spell through their performance. The sparks grow larger and the color shifts, turning the rehearsal into a full magical spectacle. Then the glowing fireball becomes too big to control. Daisy's polished diva act cracks as the green light erupts into a violent purple blast. The dark roses, true traps nice inside their fading rhythm, but the singer is still clinging to one last spark. Daisy knows what is at stake. If Nice cannot receive the rhythm, the other singers have almost no chance. Baxter steps up despite the danger. Apparently being a singer now means grabbing suspicious glowing disasters with your bare hands. The spark could blow him apart, but Daisy tells Baxter to use his singer skill at the exact moment he touches it. Baxter steels himself and reaches in anyway. He is ready to risk everything for this one desperate attempt. It works. Baxter erupts in golden fire as the stage answers him with a spectacular opening. The flames spread across the whole stage, twisting into a huge wild shape born from Baxter's imagination. His performance becomes a blazing journey, burning away falsehood and carrying its fire through the endless dark. Baxter is wrecked, teary, and completely overwhelmed, but he realizes the fire has given him real inspiration. The troupe moves quickly to preserve that inspiration as a new skill, while Baxter can collect the reward later. Baxter thanks Daisy for daring the troupe. She is delighted because against all odds they actually pulled it off. The celebration gets extremely affectionate, and Baxter looks like he has no idea how he survived the encore. Baxter realizes his singer skill can copy an arcane realm's recognition, letting him chase professions most people cannot touch. His performance leaves the Dark Roses troupe impressed, and their glamorous leader invites our boy to join them. Baxter accepts without hesitation. In this kingdom, a rose badge is apparently better than a job interview. The troupe hands him the rose badge and names him their new lead singer, replacing the late Ness. Before his first job, the troupe orders Baxter to buy a suit and dress properly. Even undead performers have standards. With a clean new identity, Baxter heads for forbidden revival materials, knowing the undead clan watches that market closely. At the auction house, he pads his list with ordinary goods to hide what he really wants. The clerk still looks suspicious. The doors close, undead guards surround him, and Baxter realizes these materials have set off every alarm in the room. Then Baxter steps forward to confront the furious clerk face to face. His quiet shopping trip is officially over. Baxter walks into the room wearing the Dark Knight Rose emblem, and the blonde elf instantly recognizes him. That rose proves Baxter joined the Dark Knight Rose troupe fast. Apparently, paperwork moves at lightning speed when magic is involved. Captain Kevin politely stops the sale. He has checked Baxter's records, and the newcomer is not crossing any red lines. Still, Eternal Night City is on alert, so Kevin asks him to stay careful. Baxter asks for the materials to be bought elsewhere, then quietly names the auction house and Moonlight Street as better sources. Kevin is delighted by the advice and promises to return the favor. Baxter asks him to use that very beautiful voice to help later. Kevin even knows Baxter's troupe is visiting the Earl's Manor that afternoon. This city has security, gossip, and apparently no privacy. Once Baxter leaves, Kevin summons shadowy agents and orders them to keep a close watch on him. Kevin knows a clever fox can hide its tail, but he's sure Baxter's real purpose will eventually surface. Baxter has already noticed the pressure. Kevin acted friendly, but his suspicion is impossible to miss. Baxter reveals the truth. 2 shadow assassins have been following them since Kevin groped his pelvis. Instead of running, Baxter heads for the materials and lets the hunters follow. He wants a little excitement before claiming better loot. The blonde elf heads into Moonlight Goods Store with every material needed to upgrade Dark Whisper already collected. He's moving fast, and the hooded watchers decide to trail him instead of letting him shop in peace. He flashes a smug grin and announces a shopping trip. Apparently gathering upgrade materials was only the warm-up. An hour later, he walks out loaded with supplies while the ghosts frantically record every price and whispered detail. They are treating a clothing receipt like forbidden intelligence. The budget department is having a rough night. The spies think the shopkeeper's strange food order is a secret code, but their investigator is visibly breaking under the pressure. The blonde elf finally catches on. Furious, he calls the hooded stalkers shameless perverts and refuses to let them escape. A violent blast changes everything. The frightened hooded figures find themselves facing a dark presence that asks if they still remember him. 3 ghostly flames burn across the skull-like face as the stranger's aura crushes the room. The answer is chillingly simple. He has come back for revenge. The three brothers close in on Kevin, convinced the strange aura around him marks him as an ancestor's descendant. They order their undead monster to grab him, which is a bold plan when lightning is already in the room. Kevin answers with a spectacular thundershock, blasting blue-white power straight through the attackers. The brothers quickly realize this is not a harmless escape attempt. Elsewhere, mages complete a high-energy barrier around the undead town, sealing the battlefield in glowing pillars. They proudly call it the latest human magic. Kevin is about to give it a very rude review. The trapped enemies pour everything into the barrier, trying to turn Kevin's own power against him. But the lightning keeps hammering back, and the whole defense starts looking dangerously fragile. The barrier erupts in sparks and debris, while its terrified creators admit Kevin's soul flames have vanished. Their supposedly perfect trap has become a flashing warning sign. Then the scene jumps to a public bathroom, where a blue-flamed figure confronts Kevin over the missing guards. Kevin is furious at being spied on in a bathroom. Fair complaint, terrible timing. The long-haired vampire spits venom at Kevin, swearing his remaining brothers will return for revenge. Kevin does not flinch. He promises to uncover every secret and finish the threat one brother at a time. Instead, the vampire's rage triggers an evolution. The system declares that the Baxter brothers are developing a new attribute. The reveal lands hard. The new power is called Vampire Children, and Kevin's enemies have just become far more dangerous. Baxter learns his 7 brothers are about to trigger a new evaluation attribute, the ominously named Vampire Child. That family history is getting more complicated than a royal group chat. Before Baxter can dwell on it, Madame Daisy finds him and rushes him toward the Count's palace. A blue-flamed officer tries to arrest Baxter for murder, but Daisy coolly shuts him down and invokes the Count. Apparently, political connections beat a dramatic interrogation today. Kevin watches them leave, swallowing his anger and quietly deciding he will repay this humiliation twice over. Daisy opens an arcane realm traversal, pulling Baxter through a swirling portal toward the Count's domain. On the road, Daisy reveals the arcane realm may be a single realm connecting every world, not just theirs. She also admits the Count's earlier interest in Baxter was only a lie meant to deceive Kevin. The county's hosting a brutal contest for singers and dance troupes, and only the best performance earns his favor. At the palace, General Andre unveils carriage after carriage packed with tens of thousands of blue-quality weapons. Even the Count is stunned, because producing this much gear should be impossible. The ghouls proudly claim only their great race could pull off such a massive production miracle. The terrified elf realizes the orcs have embraced humanity's worst invention, the 996 work schedule. Apparently, 9 to 9, 6 days a week is scary enough to traumatize an entire fantasy world. The orcs are not collapsing under the pressure. They are pumping out high-quality weapons in huge numbers and getting dangerously confident. Alia warns that this is only the beginning. The schedule is strengthening the nation, but it could also split the tribes apart. If the undead keep advancing, everyone else may be forced to adopt the same nightmare system. Daisy has no time to celebrate. Between protecting the continent and handling daily chaos, even a cold drink sounds like a luxury. Then Daisy arrives at the Dark Knight Rose's castle, where its pale, sharp-eyed lord has been waiting for her. The Earl calls this a diplomatic mission, but his smile makes it clear that Daisy's group is about to face a test. Several troops already failed before they even arrived, so this little assignment comes her teeth. A promising singer joins the team, and he can shape water into endless forms. The Earl wants them to build an unforgettable performance. The team starts throwing out ideas. Dancing water, massive objects, and glowing droplets turn into a full stage show. Elia goes quiet, then grins. He has a crazy idea, and that is usually where the real trouble begins. The group enters a frozen nightmare realm, and even the confident blonde observer is stunned by its scale. The horned woman calmly hands over a glowing water core. Apparently, the terrifying artifact comes with personal delivery. The core grants temporary access to the Shadow Lord's elemental fusion, water, or he can claim that class for himself. The white-haired warrior immediately turns that water into ice, creating a whole world of snow around him. A glowing sword rises from the ice, but Lord Earl can barely make himself touch it. The weapon is judging him. He realizes the undead performance was not just for show. They expect him to join their watch. When Earl takes the sword, the undead begin whispering his name, watching their new lord grow stronger day by day. The frozen realm cracks under the pressure as a warning echoes through the snow. The people's happiness comes first. The shadowy ruler leaves Earl with one warning: rule with strength and wisdom, and use this immense power carefully. A horned woman suddenly screams with delight, insisting true victory comes from a fighting spirit. Earl is left screaming in a nightmare world as the burden of this new role hits all at once. The white-haired Count feels it in his bones. His performance is not just entertainment, it is the power of a king. Baxter's dance troupe has somehow turned a battlefield into a full emotional awakening. Subtle? Absolutely not. The Count openly praises their work, stunned by how real it makes an undead man feel alive again. He calls the troop's leader a true genius and says the Dark Rose's dance is exactly what his clan needs. Behind the applause is a harsh truth. The undead clan has only just lost, and its old beliefs are clashing with new ones. The Count knows the ghouls may use this fragile moment to pressure every other race into an endless arms race. Instead of giving up, Baxter receives a bloody badge that can summon an elite guard. The Count wants more work that can stir dead souls. The Count makes his goal crystal clear. Artists like Baxter can awaken hearts, and he wants that inspiration spreading through the clan. Then the celebration gets interrupted. A crowd of red-eyed ghouls suddenly marches into Baxter's room. Their leader recognizes Baxter as the singer and asks his name. That compliment has the energy of a problem walking through the door. Baxter gets an unexpected visitor. Emetu, the Orc Grand Chieftain's son, arrives with a job offer for their dance troupe. The orcs are pitching full benefits and paid leave. Somehow, this is the intimidating part. Emetu explains why the offer matters. The old shamans rejected the new work rules, so the orcs killed every last one. Now Emetu invites Baxter to become director of the orcs' Sky Green Park dance troupe, speaking like the decision is already made. Baxter refuses flatly. He already has a troupe, and Emetu's cheerful recruitment pitch instantly becomes a threat. Baxter calls on the Eternal Night City Guard, and red magic erupts through the hall as the orcs are surrounded. Furious, Baxter declares that kidnapping someone under Eternal Night City's protection is an outrageous mistake. Then the top-hatted undead guard, Kevin, shocks Baxter by asking why he is guarding him instead of obeying the orcs. Kevin has been bought for 100,000 bone coins. Baxter realizes his own protector is telling him to cooperate and leave. With a cold order, the orcs throw Baxter out. Our boy's authority vanishes the moment the money changes hands. Baxter refuses to accept exile from Eternal Night City, glaring at Kevin as the orcs prepare to take him away. The blonde elf squares up to the orcs, demanding to know whether they want a war with the undead. She came in ready to start a diplomatic incident, which is certainly one way to make an entrance. Instead of fighting, the red-skinned orc proudly says his Grand Chieftain has been hunting for someone as gifted as her. Purple runes suddenly wrap around Baxter. The Grand Chieftain's invitation is not a request, it is a trap. Baxter panics and tries to escape, but the glowing spell drags her through the gate before she can break free. She plummets through a dark magical passage, screaming as the invitation launches her across worlds. Baxter crashes into the desert outside Thunder Fortress, stunned by how fast the orcs delivered their so-called guest. A nervous messenger announces the Grand Chieftain's guest, and Baxter realizes that the name they were waiting for was hers. Then the real host appears, Kai the Conqueror, the massive Grand Chieftain of the orcs, looming over Baxter with a very unsettling welcome. The Great Chieftain watches Baxter with glowing approval. Our boy's performance in the Dharma realm has clearly earned him a dangerous fan. And this fan happens to command an entire orc army, so the compliments come with extra pressure. Baxter demonstrates the army's firepower as soul-shattering arrows rip through the undead. The poor target does not get a trial run. Baxter explains that the undead were supposed to become orc workers, but they rejected the invitation because the clan demands 35-hour weeks. The chieftain starts breaking down the orcs' advantages, a huge population, impressive fertility, and vast territory to work with. He treats workforce planning like it is the final boss of conquest. Then the chieftain decides Baxter is such a genius that he wants to adopt him as a son. Baxter's strained face says this proposal arrived way too fast. Baxter refuses to back down. If the orcs want to prove themselves, they will work hard and make this wild plan succeed. A heated brand is pressed into place for the final step. Once the mark is set, the recruit officially becomes part of the orc clan. Before anyone can process that ceremony, Baxter makes a flying saucer-style escape. Apparently dramatic exits are now standard clan procedure. Later, the Grand Chieftain checks in on Baxter's preparations. Baxter confidently reports that the troop is ready to perform. The chieftain is genuinely moved by Baxter's talent. He welcomes the new member home and tells them to let the show begin. Shen Ye tumbles out of a red portal, breathing hard after barely escaping a fate worse than a bad contract. The lingering spell will fade, but he still has to survive 3 nightmare worlds before he can truly move on. The orcs are relying on their shamans, and their chieftain is worried the whole society could collapse without them. Even worse, he has been invited to a gathering full of talented students. Casual little pressure cooker. Xiao Mingyu finally finds Shen Ye and immediately notices he is still dressed like he fought a forest for his wardrobe. She hands him a gift, explaining that she spotted a men's outfit while shopping and picked it up for him. Shen Ye is stunned by the thoughtfulness, then remembers he has absolutely no clothes for this nightmare realm. A quick change later, our boy cleans up shockingly well, and Xiao Mingyu cannot hide her blush. Xiao Mingyu gets serious. Tonight's welcome party is being held in a Dharma realm called Zhengzhou City. Zhengzhou City belongs to the Song family, a realm built in ancient times to support massive military campaigns. Shen Ye immediately suspects Song Qingyan has something planned for the students at this party. The class is teleported to Zhengzhou City, where the hosts promise activities, friendly competition, and reward quests for newcomers. Xiao Mingyu is suddenly pulled into Zhengzhou City, landing right in the middle of a glowing school event. Our boy quickly learns this gala is not just socializing, it is another trial. The event pairs students with mentors through small group classes, and completing tasks can earn someone a real name and support. Fail to find a mentor though, and your academic life becomes miserable. Very friendly system. A mysterious observer notices something odd. Xiao Mingyu can see names, but his entry still looks completely different. Then a quest appears, demanding true emotion and true love. Xiao Mingyu looks like the system just assigned him homework from hell. He tries the fastest possible solution and bluntly tells Nangon Sarui, "I love you." Sarui is stunned, offended, and very clearly not buying it. Xiao Mingyu changes tactics, offering genuine friendship instead. The system accepts it, but he gets no reaction at all. Before he can recover, an overly enthusiastic girl pushes a bouquet into his hands and calls him a handsome guy. Surui decides to take charge, presenting the flowers with full dramatic sincerity. The crowd gets a front row seat to this chaos. Xiao Mingyu swallows his embarrassment and commits, hoping this bizarre performance finally clears the helping others quest. It works, the quest is completed, and everyone realizes the two are classmates, not the scandal they imagined. For surviving the world's most awkward gala mission, Xiao Mingyu receives a random entry, a mythic tier utility character. Shen Ye gains a random evaluation trait called Toolman, but it will vanish after 10 seconds. The warning is worse than the reward. This power can turn him into something disposable. He tries to devour the trait immediately, but it is only a guidance roll and cannot be consumed. Very convenient universe. Back in the city, Shen Yu confirms the task is done, yet he receives no new name for his effort. Our boy leaves to search for Xiao when a strange voice cuts through the crowd and declares that it has found him. A glowing red thread coils around Shen Ye and lures him away with a simple threat. Follow it if he wants to live. At the end of the trail waits a black-haired woman, calm and smiling as she notes that Shen Ye has grown stronger. She refuses to leave until the coming bet begins, claiming she is worried about him. Shen Ye is not buying that sweet act. She admits she has bet on both sides, which means she expects to win no matter who gets crushed. Because Shen Ye gave her flowers, she returns the favor with a sealed letter and one last warning to obey Song Qingyun's orders. Inside is a map of Zhengzhou City, marked with skulls and a route that promises trouble at every turn. Shen Ye arrives at Zhengzhou City's underground passage, already annoyed by the cryptic markings and the overly cheerful escort. He dismisses the attendants and heads for the welcome party himself. Apparently, even a formal invitation comes with a threat assessment. The party is being held somewhere far beyond an ordinary campus, arriving by carriage across floating palaces in the sky. Inside the grand hall, the guests wait under the watch of a poised, purple-haired hostess. Everyone knows this meeting matters. Then Shen Ye steps through the doorway, and the hostess lights up as she calls him Big Brother. The crowd immediately turns to stare. Shen Ye has barely entered and he is already the main event. But Shen Ye's smile fades when he senses a hidden presence. He asks the question everyone is afraid to say. Is this Song Qingyun? A woman descends in a swirl of blue light, making a dramatic entrance that leaves the whole room frozen. The purple-haired hostess recognizes her as Song Qingyun. Her aura is so refined and overwhelming that only powerful people can even feel it. The hostess reaches for Shen Ye with real concern, but our boy stays calm and tells her he is fine. Then Shen Ye stops playing polite. He demands a clear explanation for every attempt on his life, every death, and every innocent casualty. At the exam hall, Shen Ye is publicly accused of everything from attempted murder to a pile of dead officers. The crowd wants every answer right now. Then a silver-haired woman appears beside a nightmare covered in glowing eyes. This hearing has officially stopped being normal. Shen Ye's divine eye awakens, letting him see the hidden foreign deities lurking beyond the human world. The woman calmly explains that her mischievous little sister copied her for a video and someone else used that prank to frame Shen Ye. Her little sister sits silent under the moonlight while the room waits for an apology. She looks more cornered than defiant. The girl admits she spoke nonsense while emotional, insisting Song Qingyun had nothing to do with the mess. The onlookers are still angry, but Shen Ye steps forward instead of letting them keep tearing into her. The silver-haired woman realizes Shen Ye has been helping her all along. That changes the whole shape of this little trap. But Shen Ye does not buy the clean apology. He points at the video and says the person in it was clearly her. The tension snaps back instantly as a hand clamps down and someone warns that Song Qingyun will be made to pay for this. The Song family calls Shen Ye out over a video, and the room is already treating him like the guilty party. Song Qingyun calmly says their mother cannot even tell the sisters apart, then claims she is simply prettier than her younger sister. That is one brutal defense, and she delivers it like she is reading the weather. Qingyun admits the accusation was investigated but insists her own confession settled the matter. Shen Ye refuses to let the family brush this aside. He points out that aristocratic scions hired assassins, so somebody has to pay. Xiaoman Ju steps in with a polite greeting, but Qingyun's wounded stare shows this is about far more than one scandal. Qingyun calls herself a victim too, revealing that her sister's feelings for brother Shen Ye are at the heart of this mess. Xiaoman Ju snaps back. Pinning the whole disaster on Shen Ye is ridiculous, and Shen Ye is ridiculous, and Shen Ye finally gets a chance to answer. King Jun produces an old greeting card from Shen Ye, promising they would be together when they grew up. Shen Ye asks the only question that matters. Was that card meant for Qingyun or for her younger sister? Now the trap lives on its maker. Either answer destroys Qingyun's excuse, and Shen Ye realizes this woman is trickier than he expected. In a hospital room, Shen Ye gets jealous that Yichen received the card instead of him. Our boy is taking stationery very personally. Yichen calmly explains why she chose him. When a huge wolf attacked, Shen Ye stood in front of her, even while he was terrified. She saw courage in him, not just bravery. That is why the card was meant for him. The memory is brutal. A massive yellow-eyed wolf corners the girls, and Shen Ye throws himself between them and the monster. Hearing that, Shen Ye promises he will make her wish come true. Yichen accepts the card, but she is still nervous about opening it. She decides to keep it safe for now. A greeting card that can grant any wish is apparently not something you leave in a desk drawer. And the mood snaps dark. Shen Ye remembers that his original self, the boy who gave Yichen that card, had already died in the hospital hallway. A silver-haired woman confirms the impossible connection. The card in her hand was the one Shen Ye gave to Yichen. Others blame Shen Ye for the whole mess, saying he broke his promise and forced Yichen into an extreme choice to get her sister back. As the card burns, the woman feels a rift opening between them. She begs him not to drag their childhood back into this. Her plea changes nothing. The flames rise and her terrified stare says this old wound is far from buried. Silver-haired woman lashes out with fire and lightning, while Shen Ye braces himself against her sudden hostility. She wants their past buried, but this reunion has clearly brought every old wound back to life. She coldly claims Shen Ye's bond with Song Qingyun has already cost countless lives. That is one brutal way to start a conversation. Shen Ye finally fires back. He says, Qingyun publicly confessed to him only to turn powerful families against him and hurt her own sister. The onlookers stare as the polished family drama turns into a full public demolition. Our boy refuses to become anyone's tool. He is done letting their version of the past decide his future. Then the truth shifts to an old memory. Qingyun remembers Shen Ye protecting her from a vicious dog when she was small and helpless. The childhood bond was real, and the greeting card was not some shared sisterly gift after all. Shen Ye gave the card to Qingyun alone, and promised to grant whatever wish she wrote inside it. Her emotional words activate a powerful oath-like contract, so this innocent keepsake suddenly carries terrifying weight. Qingyun's wish is heartbreakingly simple. She asks Shen Ye to take her to Zhangzhou City's Lantern Festival someday. Young Shen Ye answers with a smile and a promise, making the memory hit even harder. Back in the present, the silver-haired woman loses control and calls on a violent wave of power. Shen Ye tells her to stand down, but the energy is already swallowing the room. A mysterious white-haired woman shuts Shen Ye down cold, and the room erupts into a swirling blue vortex. When the vortex clears, Shen Ye finds a glowing map of Zhangzhou City's underground passages marked with skulls and one warning: "Don't forget me." That is not the kind of invitation you casually pin to the fridge. Two blindfolded attendants finally find Shen Ye and escort him toward a party venue once the new students finish their tasks. They also warn him that the school is under surveillance, and Michelle Menju wants the message delivered. His hand suddenly burns. Shen Ye stops, unsettled, because something about this whole night feels seriously wrong. Then a voice from the shadows reminds him not to forget you and me. Shen Ye turns and finds her waiting, smiling beneath the red glow. A minute ago, Yun Yi said it was 6:32. Now the clock says 8, or says in town, and Shen Ye realizes an hour and a half has vanished. Back in the carriage, Shen Ye cannot shake the burning mark. Something must have happened during that missing time. He finds a hard object in his clothes, a glowing card that seems to have been planted there during the lost hour. The card identifies itself as an activated memory beacon, tied to whoever wrote its greeting card, and waiting for Shen Ye to identify the recipient. The answer lands like a trap snapping shut. This was prepared 10 years ago, and Song Qingyun's ability is to alter memories. Shen Ye finds a greeting card carrying the memory restoration effect, and the lost past starts clawing its way back. 10 years ago, Song Qingyun made it because she feared he would forget her as he grew up. Sweet gesture, terrifying implications. This card is basically emotional malware. Shen Ye realizes Yun Yi's warning was real. Song Qingyun can alter memories, while he can trigger what was erased. Her power has reset everyone in the arcane realm, but Shen Ye is no longer willing to play along blindly. Our boy keeps his discovery hidden. If she rewrites him again, he could become Song Qingyun's pawn for real. An attendant arrives with a summons from the eldest miss, and Shen Ye follows her into the night palace. Song Qingyun welcomes him like a long-lost brother, calm and smiling after all those years. She says she investigated the attack from their childhood and has arranged restitution for Shen Ye's injuries. Then she reveals the culprit, a chained, feral woman, his father's last wife, who secretly drove the vicious dog to attack him. Song Qingyun says Shen Ye saved her from that same dog in winter, and he became the hero she never forgot. But the apology has a second layer. She promises to show him everyone connected to the leaked video and the assassination attempt. A battered man is kept alive by a paper talisman, forced to endure punishment day after day. That is a seriously cruel life support plan. Shen Ye realizes the talisman carries a powerful aura and may be a trap. He refuses to decide the silver-haired woman's fate for her. Instead, he gives her the choice, and she quietly admits he was hurt because of her 10 years ago. When Shen Ye asks where Xiao Menju is, she takes his hand. Her guilt is still written all over her face, but she wants to make things right. She promises an explanation and asks if they can be friends again, like they were 10 years ago. Shen Ye freezes for a beat, caught completely off guard. Shen Ye suspects this sudden kindness has a purpose, so he tearfully asks about her younger sister before she notices his concern. Her little sister Song Yinchen is still desperately ill. The only cure may require a contract with the gods, but she hates them too much to accept it. She admits she spoiled her sister for years because she could never bring herself to let her go. Shen Ye offers to advise her if the chance comes. Then something catches her attention, and the chapter cuts hard from uneasy family history to sudden terror. In a blood-soaked courtyard, a purple-haired swordswoman stands over a fallen man. Calm as ice, she says she has already avenged her brother. Xiao Menju stands over the bodies, calm but bloodied, after wiping out the noble families that targeted Shen Ye. Shen Ye realizes the victims were not random enemies. Someone pushed Xiao Menju into this massacre to bury the truth. That someone is Song Qingyun. Her soft smile barely hides the pressure behind this whole carefully staged nightmare. Xiao Menju understands the warning. Song Qingyun sees everyone as tools, and disobedience could make her the next victim. Shen Ye pieces it together. Song Qingyun wants to use his sister to seal a contract with outside deities, casual dinner party politics apparently. He gently takes Xiao Menju aside and tells her to return to the party while he handles the danger himself. Shen Ye cannot reveal everything yet because the truth would put her in danger. Instead, he plays along with Qingyun's script. Then the mood flips completely when Qingyun appears before him. teary-eyed and saying it has been so long. She breaks down over losing the greeting card Shen Ye once gave her, leading him face to face with a very different Qingyun. Shen Ye finds Yin Chen apologizing for losing his greeting card, looking fragile but still trying to be polite. Her sister quietly hints that Yin Chen is not thinking clearly, and Shen Ye realizes she remembers more than she should. Yin Chen reveals the deal she wants. A contract with a deity could cure her illness. Shen Ye hates the sound of that already. Before any treatment, Yin Chen asks to see Zhongzhou City, calling it her heart's desire. That request is clearly carrying baggage. A secret event in Zhongzhou will send freshmen into a deadly underground passage packed with treasures, legacies, and weapons. Shen Ye has missed this first Dharma realm opportunity before, so he knows the trip might be the only way to help her. Yin Chen stubbornly insists she will go on her own if needed. If she fulfills a deity contract there, she believes her illness will finally be cured. Shen Ye gives in and says they will go together. Her sister joins too because apparently one dangerous trip needs a full escort. Zhongzhou is already buzzing with festival lights when Yin Chen explains the freshman trial. Mentors from 3 schools will be watching every move. Their guide casually admits she organized the event and leaked Shen Ye the questions. So much for a fair entrance exam. Shen Ye now understands why Yun Ni handed him that map. This whole meeting was calculated. Then Yin Shen spots candied skewers and wants one immediately. Even a mysterious destiny trip has snack priorities.